got other strategies, other options available to us. But if you're DarkZero, you gotta feel pretty confident with so many VODs, you know, just a day or two ago to go into this and say, we think we know what Liquid will do. But with that being said, Liquid, they wouldn't go here unless they had a plan that would catch DarkZero off guard.
Yeah, most definitely. And Liquid rocking those new backgrounds, as well as a couple people on DZ rocking the new player backgrounds as well for the operator cards. And I love that new DarkZero one, man. It's so funny. You know, I will admit, when it first came out, I was a little bit of a hater.
It's a little bit goofy.
You know, it was a little goofy. I was like, ah, come on. And then I saw it actually in game, and I was like, okay, you win.
They got me with that one.
Got me, yeah. And then all my friends bought it, and I was like, I gotta buy it too. And you know. But I don't use the gun skin, because somebody may or may not have sold their gold dust skins and bought Glacier recently. It wasn't me. All right, it was me.
You know, some skins are just the best. Glacier is up there. Now, for Team Liquid, what they did against PSG, Talon, and Blizz, they like to do a bit of a cheese attack here. And the Amaru is a big, you know, working pillar of that foundation. Basically, they can attack either CEO or Meeting as their primary attacking side, but then Amaru will go on the opposite side, sneak into the window, and just go for a plant, and Liquid will rotate around in a post-plant position. Right now, they're hovering Lion, Grim, Ying, Capital, and the Amaru. This is an execute-oriented Team Liquid that want to get that 5v5 on the bomb side, create chaos, generate space, and just get down at diffuser and play that safe post-plant from the window repels.
Well, that's the biggest thing for me in this lineup, right, is that ability to generate that space. That's exactly what they need for a scenario like this. You have to try and do a full court press in protecting your Amaru in this position. And you know, it's you know, vice versa for DarkZero. You have to bring those utilities that you can toss over into that area, because if you try and approach, you're more than likely dead.
Big thing here for Team Liquid, they're going to open up all the windows around the building to apply phantom pressure, as well as droning downstairs. If you only go for CEO window, the DarkZero will know what's up. So you go in all these different areas of the map, open the wall as well towards the bomb site, and now DC are like, okay, we don't know what they're going to do, we don't know where they're rushing, but when Liquid want to, because of their operator lineup, they can go in an instant moment here.
Oh, and Amaru's coming in. Nitro Cell out, but they don't know which window she's in. She's going to fly into the other portion instead and start putting this bomb down. Nesk will end up dying, and we're not going to have Laguna stick this just yet. Smoke's out. He knows that one's around the corner, but we actually have this player stuck in behind the desk because we do have that CEO repel. So this is overcomplicating things for DarkZero, and they don't really have an answer, at least in the moment. They'll continue to try and figure this out. And actually, I do believe, yes, indeed, it was a miscalculation on my end. It's actually resets in behind the CEO desk. He'd already swung in. He's got some beautiful angles to work with, although there is one player still downstairs. Nave will take him out, free up this portion of the map, but Team Liquid's post plant looks nasty.
It's excellent. I mean, they caught DarkZero off guard entirely.
Down to the 2v2. A run out here for DZ. Really not much to do. A nade in, and this strategy from Team Liquid, it's all spades across the board. A full house and a round for them.
This might not have been a flawless round in terms of like the literal definition of 5 versus 0, but I think this is a flawless round rush execute, because they did the exact thing that we expected, where they're gonna attack one side, push the other, and you saw DarkZero, they were C4ing CEO default plant, going down on piano, shotgun the floor, and guess what? They plan to connect their window on the other bomb side. And I also worry for DC now, because Liquid did a very similar thing against PSG, against Blizz, where they would go for the meeting execute but plant CEO. So DarkZero failed this first round, not being super warmed up intel-wise, but also Team Liquid, they had no gaps in that attack. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think the biggest thing is that this is just one of those adaptations that you're starting to see on this top floor. We've been playing with that CEO window for so long since this match came, or this map rather, came back out. And you know, people are going to start to adapt around it. There's two very exploitable windows on this top floor bomb site for Amaru, and we see another one right there. Very well done from Team Liquid. Now DarkZero not really having too much trust on that top floor anymore. In fact, they're going to shift it down to the split bomb site. This is one of the only ones we have available in the game where the bombs aren't on the same floor. This one is going to have one inside of Tellers, as well as one downstairs inside of Server.
Did you say it was one of the only ones or the only one?
One of the only ones.
It is the only one.
It's the only one now.
Now it is, yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So Park and I had to talk about this like a while ago, and it's like, it's the only one now that's left. This is funny because normally when you see these bombs, so you see like a pulse, a bunch of C4s, you know, plant deny, echo maestro, whatever. They're playing half roam, half plant deny. They only have one C4 spawn pocket of Pulse, of course. Then they have Solus, I can see where the plan goes down, and Toxic Babes. We got Cast and Vigil, who are active roaming operators. So I feel like DarkZero, they have not invested into one singular way to play out this round. They can play the plant deny, they can play the semi-roam game. They want to fight Liquid out somewhere on the map.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. Are you surprised? It's Canadian on this roster. There's a Pulse and a Solus in the lineup. And at the end of the day, it's also Consulate. Probably Pulse's best map, in my personal opinion. It's really
up there,
yeah, it's so disgusting. I mean, even if you're on the top floor bomb site, this is something you can use in ranked all the time. Pulse can see every single floor when you look up. So if somebody's on the 3rd floor, you can still see them from the basement, which is just truly impeccable, especially if you have good comms. If you know the map very well and you're able to tell your team where these players are, you're more than likely getting a few kills, and you didn't have to do a lot of heavy lifting.
Focus on the build now, but there's a gap. Look at this. Nave, he finds... Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, my God. Almost with Sit, but gets the 1-for-1 trade with Nisk finding Pambusu at the same time.
Makes you breathe heavy, doesn't it? Get a little worried, especially when it's something like the ump. That thing does not fire very quickly. And almost ran into a train right there. And speaking of which, Canadian might be next. Nitro Cell underneath. Somebody popped this. Oh, my goodness. Okay. That was just so unfortunate for Canadian. Nesk will take him down. Team Liquid doing a very good job of identifying where the Solus is on the top floor and knowing that he's in an isolated position, exploiting it to its fullest.
That's the big weakness right now for DarkZero. They played that kind of half roam, half plant line we spoke about earlier, and that means that there are 2 isolated roamers upstairs with 3 players beneath that cannot really help each other. Sure, C4 was attempted, didn't really do a whole lot, but now there's no plant deny. You got Toxic Babes on the smoke and the Pulse scanner, sure, but no C4. You have to like walk up a staircase to fight Visa, for example, or hold your ground. Liquid still got 40+ seconds to work with. But there we go. Bola finds Nisk back to a 3-on-3. DarkZero is still fighting back.
That's the key thing. They have to step up to the plate now, and they have to hit a home run. They're going to stay at least adequate here, stay in contention of Team Liquid inside of this 2v2. They're going to drop down the hatch, though, and I think that they've completely caught off DarkZero. As long as Lagonis is in a solid position, they have this plant, and they can try and convert this. They know one's running for the hatch, and Lion's going to be able to gun him down. That DMR, so very dangerous. Lagonis popping off there. What a shot out of him. What a play from Liquid. That decision-making, snappy.
Yeah, that is such good problem-solving skills from Liquid because DC, I actually think they played that really well given the circumstances. They played an aggressive 3v3, then they held the bombs together. One Visa staircase, one Teller's staircase, one inside of Teller's itself. They had a crossfire going. Liquid, they dropped the corner hedge. Like, we got the basic bomb side. We don't care about Teller's at all. So it's beautifully done from both teams. But again, Liquid a little bit snappier on the comms and of course predicting what DC might be doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Consulate. There's so many different ways that you can go about it, but there's also so many different ways that you can exploit it, right? And we just saw one of them right there from Team Liquid. They identify what the play is from DarkZero and the fact that they want to try and have a few bodies on that top floor, and that's where things really start to fall off the wagon, you know what I mean? They stay in contention up there, they take that entire top floor, rip up the flooring, and then past that, identify that both of the players are playing the Teller's space. Shift things over to the waiting room, drop down the hatch, get a plant, and then everybody saw the deed get done at the end. The DMR there from Lagonis as you know, Maya, pretty happy about that one.
I was going to say, I want to talk about the emotions from Liquid there. It's only 2-0. They won that round. It was somewhat of a clutch, I guess, but it was a 3 versus 3, essentially. Nesk looked like he just won the major finals, you know? He looked so happy about that, and that's the thing. The desk spoke about to Liquid. They've always been known as an emotional team. But I always think that their negative emotions would be the bigger story point. But ever since Maya joined the roster, it's been a much more positive experience when we see them clutch rounds. Or even when they lose with, quote-unquote, a smile on their face.
Yeah, Maya's got that endless energy. He's the power plant for Team Liquid. And honestly, for any team that he's ever been on, you know, you've seen it across the board. And honestly, that makes me feel fantastic for Team Liquid. Because you and I have talked about this before. This is a team that has a lot of pressure on their shoulders, not only from their region, but globally. Everybody expects Liquid to win something, and they have for years. And they've came so close, but always just burned up in the sun. Maya's going to take down one, traded out by Bo.
No.
And what a nice find here from Bo ×2. Going to be able to take down the shield. This is going to be the first rough patch for Liquid.
That's tough. I mean, especially because like the blitz of the Gonis had smoke grenades in pocket, could smoke off the left opponent was playing from, then push the guy on the right-hand side. But with that being said, whoever that player was, in the NGR or Nave, they prepped the C4 above the doorway, which Lagonis heard, so he couldn't push the player that was isolated. So DC, being a shield team themselves, also know how to counter shield when they face it on defense.
Yeah, most definitely. With that in mind, you're going to be seeing a lot of Legion this game, folks. I'm telling you. Legion is going to be ran in a lot of these defensive lineups. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to dealing with shields. You can think of things like Capcan as well, but Capcan, you got to put it on a door. Don't troll and put it on a window, I swear. Please don't do that. People try and do that all the time. I'm like, oh, man. Lessons need to be learned. But no, Legion, that's your answer. And, well, unfortunately enough for DarkZero, actually, fortunately enough, they already dealt with the blitz, but they're Legion down for the count. Liquid trying to pick up the pieces now. It's going to start off with resets. This decision right here, right now. This pistol, so nasty, but when you got the super shorty up close, that's a quad for Bo in that round. Very well done from him, but we can't hype it up too much just yet because it's to be expected. Not only is he really darn good at this game, also a hammer lifter.
That's true. He did lift that hammer. Same with the Canadian back there, of course. Great fork for Bolo to the MP, to the secondary shotty as well. But the thing is, when you look at the attacking side of Consulate, Liquid already getting 2 rounds out of 3. They can pretty happily go into this on a 2-4 half, 3-3 half and say, you know what, that's okay. Because the attacking side is typically the one that is much more difficult than defense on this particular map. Bonk. I love that. That shotgun, especially on land, it just destroys people in close quarter combat.
Oh, yeah. And the biggest thing is, too, is it's completely unsuspecting. You know what I mean? Everybody's so used to the primaries that you have to coexist with, right? And sometimes you just don't think of the fact of, oh, yeah, Castle does have that secondary
back in my day, he didn't have that. It's the weak UMP. Absolutely.
They got 2 of them now because Legion's also got it. Recent change as well. I think it's the ITA, isn't it, over to... Malusi. So yeah. We have 2 of them. I can't even remember if their ammo count's different. If they are, hopefully she got the better.
5 Malusi, 3 on the I call it the Muzzy shotgun, the Castle shotgun.
Gotcha.
Muzzy came with that originally before they murdered him.
They did.
They're like, really yoink, no shotgun, yoink, less bullets, yoink, no scope.
Guys, I'll stop him when he's wrong. Oh, man. What did you do to my poor Aussie boy? He used to be one of the funnest roamers in the game. And then there was like, also past that, while we're on this, can we please get something done about the Roni? Why does it have less bullets in the SMG-11?
No, that's really count in the game.
That's all I'm going to say. That's it. And that's our soapbox. We're going to throw that off into the ether. We're back into round 4 here. Liquid is up by 1 and hopping into things now. They've abandoned the Blitz. Lagonis bringing in the Monty. And we are going to be on the second floor bomb site here. Probably my favorite bomb site on this entire map, Pengy, because of how you play the top floor with all of these angles.
No, you're right, but again, DarkZero playing all 4 floors right now. Force in the basement, can scan for the bomb site, roaming up top, holding that primary floor as well. So Liquid now, tough decision to make. Do you go for dome clear above, below, or just straight for the bomb site? Well, either way, what you're going to do, the good news is, because you have the Munty, you can simplify this approach. Munty picks an area, he walks in extended, shares the intel with his team, and then the entries will follow up here. Right now, it's actually Lagonis droning as a Munty player, not entering himself. This could also mean that Liquid, they're trying to hide that operator pick so that they can go for a cheesy plant later in the round. The C4s from DarkZero, rather, 2 in pocket of NGR and Canadian. They gotta land one of those 2 ideally in this round to get that opening kill.
I think I saw a ping there. I think they know that Bo's in this space, but that's the biggest thing. You got a player of this caliber, just because you know where they are doesn't mean that you win the gunfight. And yeah, that was a little close.
That was a very too close for comfort.
Oh
and
my
again,
God! Oh,
Bo's fired up.
If Jason Doty just aims down a little bit, it's basically over for whoever's off past that wall. Clean it, shot.
Good old resets on the Ash upstairs. But that's a Monty. They hear it. C4 gets tossed. Doesn't do anything at all. They can try to hold this area though. Talk a bit as well. So DarkZero can make a lot of, utility towards that piano hallway.
Off that audio. It's really hard on land, man.
Come on, NGR. No!
Oh, unlucky. That's what we were saying. You have those noise canceling headphones over the top with those in-ears and everything else going on in the game. It's any simple fodder at all, and you really can't hear in the first place. Now it's going to be able to take down Bo, but we're down to 30 seconds. It's crunch time already. They need an answer for this, and it's going to be a trade here between Palu and Pambazoo. Probably pretty happy about that one. I'm assuming that one was at range, and Pamba hits the shots with the SMG-11. Mayo takedown Canadian, 4 versus 2. Nate with a nice shot, but he gets immediately discovered. It's all all up to NJR, and he still has to worry about the Monty. No, some nice shots out here, and that's about all she wrote. That's what you would assume, especially given the circumstances. Monty able to discover that position past his teammate, already giving him the info off that jiggle peek there, and that's why you saw that. They just didn't want to give it up. Might as well not even give him shots. You have a shield player that makes it practically impossible to fight him in a one-on-one. We'll just have him handle it instead.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing DC go into like a Melusi or Finway right now, because I think the issue for them is that Liquid, they are absolutely everywhere. They breached basement immediately, went top floor, got a couple of kills, then they're in basement again, they're in Visa, they're in Taylor's, they're hitting the bomb side, they're attacking DarkZero from every single location possible. Great trade there from Panda, but that's not enough. And Canadian, I also got isolated downstairs as a pulse. So you play an operate like the pulse for the sole reason of gathering information, getting a C4 kill, and he doesn't get either of those things happening. He dies alone, no intel, no C4, the team suffers, Canadian suffers, and DC have no intel.
Oh, and that's the biggest thing about Consulate. You mentioned it earlier about the windows that we saw Liquid breaking open and creating phantom pressure. This is an exact same scenario.
Yep.
They just took it to the limit. They break open the basement. They start applying pressure on the top floor with windows and all this kind of stuff. And the beauty of a team that is so solid like Liquid, a little confusing though. You know,
are they Liquid or the solid?
I'm not even going to mention the gas, okay? But listen, the key thing is when you do this, it makes it to where DarkZero has to cover all of their bases.
Exactly.
And if your team, you know, recuperates and they come back together and go, okay, this is how we're now going to handle this, in the way that they did, it gets very complicated, especially when the kills start rolling in on their favor.
That's why I like the Melusi Defender here. Now that was brought here, but they did play that Valkyrie on Canadian, which is great because now they get information. The only issue here, someone has to either actively sit on cameras to enable that information, or someone has to die for DarkZero.
Yep.
The good thing is, if Canadian gets aggressive here and dies early on, he can call all those shots from the cameras and guide his teammates around, which might actually be a benefit to DC. So technically, when they lose a defending player, they gain something else by having those cameras they can watch from Valkyrie.
Yep, difference between passive and active utility. Some of these things are just set it down and forget it, you know? And that's the beauty of something like Melusi. What a find here. Canadian didn't see the drone on the ground and resets Canadian's clock. He's going to have to worry about this from the cam perspective here. So at least they got somebody to try and have some oversight on what Liquid wants to do.
Canadian literally said, hold up, I want to watch the cams. Let me just find someone. But great intel there from Liquid on the drone downstairs in the Visa hallway. Just gets that intel, Reese walks in with confidence, gets that easy pick, and now Liquid, because they got that 5v4 and they have the Monty, they can just start working towards that execute stage, going yellow stairs, flying in CEO window, and DarkZero don't have much to stop them with besides Toxic Babes, a C4, and those scory canisters. So over time, Liquid can bait out that utility with the Monty, for example, just like being an annoyance factor somewhere and force DC to react to it.
And Liquid peeled Folder back from his position that he was downstairs in the closet. Smoke's out here for yellow stairs to deal a little bit of damage to Lagonis. They know at least where that is, but Lagonis isn't even the main piece to this puzzle. He's just here to be annoying. It's actually the full repel play here on CEO. Liquid trying to flip the script from what we saw previously.
We see the whole thing there. It's blocked downstairs with verticality, two guys on the window, Monty yellow staircase. All Liquid need right now is time. Burn out those 3 Toxic Babes. When there's none left, Monty can guaranteed push in and apply pressure. So when the time is right, they go for it. That right there burned out the final Goyo canister as well. So the next repel in, that can be a plant.
Yep. Really big deal here. Some smokes need to be asserted from Nave, but he's not going to be able to do too much about it. It's going to be a Nitro Cell instead, and the immediate answer here from Liquid. This is what you want to see. You don't want to see them be lackadaisical. They can't just all of a sudden get surprised. An instantaneous swing from Maya, air jab out, but he can't. Oh, he does!
Surely not.
He wins the second one, but the Bailiff was his only answer past that, and Bolo will take down Nesk. They're going to be able to get their second round.
That's way too close to comfort, but DC are very happy to get a second round. But going back to the earlier point, Liquid, I think they're super happy on the 3-3 worst case scenario because that is beating the average score, I would argue, here on Consulate. And Liquid, they've done their prep work for this. They got so many different kinds of executes. They got the Blitz, they got the Monty, they got the no-shield situation. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see when DarkZero comes in the side swap, how they can match that same kind of pressure on their attacking side.
So Consulate, back at the last major that we had here in Manchester, the major, 37% win rate on attack.
What? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. For some reason, I got that wrong. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So we're talking 2-4.
You're acting so shocked. You're like, what?
I was like, wait, defense is terrible? I was like, wait, that's not how math is mathing.
Yeah, no. The offense, 37.8 to get it down to the decimal. And then for defense, 62.2.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is one of these maps that I know it's been in the game for a little while, guys.
I mean, technically not.
Yeah, and that's you would know exactly. It feels like it has, but there's a lot of innovation to be had. And the big thing that happens inside of pro play is that the defense is always better to start on every single map. Offense is incredibly difficult to try and get coordinated and sound and all of that in between, right? Team Liquid has obviously put in a lot of effort to make this offense spool up in the way that it has.
Yeah, and I love to see how they're doing it because we don't see teams play with this much confidence all that often, I think. Playing on a big map, widespread apart, but Liquid, because of how good their drone work is, they can very comfortably walk on the map on the attacking side so far. I like this change. Canadian solo roaming top floor, more or less, has captain traps as the captain player. And I think the idea here is he's going to get hunted by demos. He's going to get droned out. They're going to come running for him. And if he just falls back door by door, he's going to have captain traps in those strategic positions, like here, for example, that he can play around. If he gets left alone, however, he can go for late round flank, see for the floor for verticality, and be annoying towards Team Liquid later on the round.
And he's so solid in this position, mostly because he's played a role like this for so very long. So this is exactly what you expect out of him. You want him to try and delay. A lot of people get frustrated when they see the initial pick go the way of the offense, especially when it's on the roam. They're like, oh, he didn't get any kills. But that's not really what it's about. What it's about is wasting time, and you want Canadian to do that. It looks like he might even prep the windows and hop out on the far side for the double, but you already see the rotation from Team Liquid. Oh my gosh. They want to lock him inside of a cage.
Oh, they're coming.
Canadian might have to turn into a feral animal here to try and get out of this.
See what he can do. C4 timing could be massive here. And 1-point trade is all he needs.
No way, it's Nathan instead, and they do it off the break. Beautiful comms there from Canadian. Lagonis gets him off the window, but Pamba's going to be able to frag back. And DarkZero in the driver's seat here for one of the few times that we've seen so far.
That's great from DC. Again, they're playing together around Canadian, making him a bait and switch, basically. I feel like in a perfect world, Canadian should put down the Capcan traps, but he shouldn't be the Capcan roaming, because you track the Capcan, you're going to think to yourself, there's got to be Capcan traps. So I feel like if that small change happened, Liquid would have been less aware of it, maybe taking more damage, but either way, DC, they definitely come out on top in that trade.
Absolutely. Now with a sub-minute, Team Liquid have a lot of decision-making ahead of them. It's a downstairs bomb site. They wasted a lot of time on that top floor, and they've only gotten Canadian for it. We're doing a check here. All four of the DarkZero players downstairs, so that doesn't mean that Team Liquid has access to that mid floor. But the key thing is now is that they don't really have the ability to break up too much. The soft breach is already used for Nesk. I don't know if he used those on that floor in there. It looks like he's at least used one. And now Team Liquid have got to try and find a place for this plant. That's going to be Lagonis' job here. You can see Nesk up top trying to utilize those angles that they broke open with the breaching charges. He's going to drop down the hatch. NJR for one, but no, that's all she wrote. NJR for two. Botax on the last, and DarkZero have tied up this defensive side.
Very impressive, and I feel like DC finally kind of found their footing and saying, okay, this is how we expect Team Liquid to attack. We're going to counter it. Whereas in the first couple of rounds, it was like, what's going on? Okay, are they attacking left or right? We don't really know as DarkZero, but finally, they got it done and dusted. The issue is that 6th round was played out, 3-3-1/2. Now you swap sides. So all that stuff you just figured out, you got to re-figure it out on the other side now instead.
Even found the man sitting outside waiting for the hop/rappel angle that we would eventually see if he ended up staying up. Didn't need that. DarkZero, very well done, especially in the fact of playing around Canadian on that top floor. Yeah, I do agree with you on the cap cans in that sense, but at a bare minimum, at least he was successful in the roam. He wastes time, he makes it complicated for Liquid, and I especially love the comms there. Nafe getting that nitro cell up, more than likely saved the beginning of that round.
Oh, absolutely, and again, it buys time for Pembasu as well. The big question was earlier, how will DC match up against Liquid on the attack? Because again, you got the Munty, you got the Blitz, you got those kind of rush or cheese operators for executes. And DarkZero, in their kind of new form, playing those shoot operators on Canadian, they usually have two styles of play. One is very fast, very aggressive, kind of cheesy, where they try and steal around by rushing. We saw them do that on Border a couple days ago. So they can play like that new style, like always default back to that more like fundamental step-by-step kind of DarkZero. And we see what Liquid have chosen, right? They got the Plugable Shields, they got the Wamai, the Warden, etc. So they want to slow things down from Liquid side of things. DarkZero trying to speed things up. They can try and do it, but they only have the Blitz. There's no Capital, Ying, Glass follow-up. So I feel like DarkZero, they have to respect the utility right now and go step by step in this round.
DarkZero, usually these first rounds, especially when it comes to the offense, right? You really want to try and feel things out.
Yeah.
And given the lineup that they have, this is something where they can't miss their mark. If you utilize this utility in a place where it's not really going to be of any use, then you're kind of screwed. Those gridlock tracks and all of these things in between are all dedicated to the space that you apply them. So it could be a problem if DarkZero ends up misfiring, but obviously that's why we see them taking their time. They have the ITA out there for Nafe as he cleans up that camera downstairs inside of the teller's space. Saw the default up for checkers as well, as NJR will be spooling things up. Track Stingers down too, just to make it harder to try and rotate into this top floor.
So also as Striker comes into play, of course, in the recruit operator, you can get flashbangs and grenades on a sole operator, which means you flash out the Wamai disc, then nade the shield afterwards, and just single-handedly clear utility on that side of things. And it is DarkZero doing that 1-2-3 step right now, droning it out, seeing where the play positions are. First step here is going to be dealing with Nesk on the Soda machine. Again, no Capital, so you gotta just burn things out step by step. Later on, Canadian on the base has to enable his team to get in the building somehow, or at least get into the bomb site later on.
Yeah, this is one of the harder fights to take on this map. This exact position here is such a nuisance, especially for the offense.
They're stalling out. I mean, come on, you gotta go. Flash, 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 nade, boom,
there
boom,
it is.
pow. Oh,
Nesk is more than likely
that's
dead.
gonna kill him, yeah.
Comes right into his lap, and that's exactly what you need to do. You have to try and burn out all of that utility to deal with that checkers position. DarkZero able to do that.
Oh boy.
With flying colors.
No.
And wow, Canadian takes the fight almost instantaneously. What's the do it again? But wow, Lagonis decapitates Canadian. NJR will do so in turn to Maya. It's down to a 2 versus 2 because Pambazoo is bleeding out on the floor inside of the bathroom. I guess if there was a place to bleed out, probably the best, it's a tile floor. Lagonis takes down Pambazoo with that M590, creating himself some space and making sure that they don't have a constant bead on his location. Bo does have to worry about this angle through that soft wall to his right, unless we have an absolute demon moment from NJR. He's practically smiling already as they're gonna adjust him in behind the desk here. Can he get the shots? Wow, what a transfer there. Knew he had to be around that door frame, slash through on the front desk area. NJR applying bullets where they should be, and he finds the kill.
NJR is so good. I mean, that entire round also came off the fact that Canadian low-key kind of trolled that round. If he didn't like ABS.
Hey, I know that guy. Hey, I know those
people.
guys.
My people. Our people.
Yes, yes. Look at those
Hi,
beauties.
guys.
Aw.
I mean, so if Canadian doesn't troll that a little bit, you know, by just ABSing in the midst of the all, I feel like that round is even more dominant for DarkZero, but either way, really slow start, like, you know, DarkZero can be, but when they gotta go fast, they speed things up. That's that new version of themselves that we have not seen so much of until this tournament.
Yeah, and, you know, it's a breath of fresh air. It really is.
It is.
And it makes me really, really happy to see, especially for people like NJR, Pamba, and Bolo. I mean, you just want to put high-octane gas inside of that car and fly. That's what you want to do. Kind of like our drive here earlier. So.
Oh, Johnny. I was afraid we wouldn't make it here in time. Or not, well, make it at all, actually. We were definitely making it on time.
Oh, we were making it early, man. I probably could have had a nice little stroll, everything. That guy was ready for Formula for sure. Let me tell you. But for Team Liquid, a little bit of a pause there for a split second. Not an actual tack pause, but just a little bit of a...
It was a tack pause.
Oh, it was a tack pause.
It flew by.
It did. It really
Team
did.
Liquid off that round lost. Actually said, you know what? We gotta re-talk about how we get this, because if you go to the desk, first said how Liquid had to ban out specific operators to then strengthen themselves on their starting side. That's their attack. They technically only win 3-3, which is good on Consulate, but if you want to build a big lead, that's only neutral, right? So now Liquid, okay, now it's D4, now we're playing from behind. We need to now hit the brakes and figure out how can we get ourselves neutral again to a 4-4 and start building that lead. Because I think once they start stepping away and DarkZero, they got them figured out, I don't know if they can come back from this map of Consulate.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Sentry, that's his name, right? The defender?
You got a Sentry, you got Striker.
There it is. There it is. Yeah.
See,
yeah.
I have a hard time with that as well.
Yeah, I
because
look
it's the
over
same
real quick.
thing, but different.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But
same,
it is
same.
logical. Like, Striker is going to be an attacker because, you know, and a Sentry is like a Sentry turret. Like, that's a defense thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I think about it.
100%. I think you're right on par, my friend. And yeah, Sentry going to be coming in. This is one that we don't see too often just because usually the primary utilities that are available to the operators on defense are just so stout. They're very, very good, and you miss them when you don't have them, right?
Yeah.
This time, though, Team Liquid, they went with Sentry. They went with barbed wire and a bulletproof camera. Now, they do have that secondary super shorty as well, so we can do some reconstructive surgery around the map. Got the Commando as the primary, and overall, a solid piece, but just keep that in the back of your head. They are missing out on another primary operator.
They are. And with DarkZero, I mean, you got Glash, you got the Yin, you got the Blitz. This could be very brutal all of a sudden. The big thing is for DarkZero, they want to try and get to a bomb site executed 5 players alive. Get that 5v5. If you lose bodies early, you lose a ton of either important utility or some of those few guns that can actually do stuff outside of the execute itself. So right now, for example, the Twitch and the IQ, they can do stuff to open things up, but you gotta keep the Glass, the Blitz, and the Yin alive for as long as possible until you reach that bomb site itself.
Some good patience here from Team Liquid. You could see the worrisome sprint there from Resets. He was like, there's a good chance that if I sprint around this, I just get shot. But nobody home just yet. Obviously, that one DZ player up top, but just on cameras as of right now. I do believe Pambazoo. We'll just have to see. Canadian operating around the stairwell and probably one of the most dangerous spaces to be for a defender when trying to deal with a shield. Only one way it can go really well is if you're able to get that smack off in time. And then the stairs are actually pretty helpful for you because the angle gets real wonky for the shield player, but otherwise it's close quarters, and you never want that when it comes down to it. Oh, smoke's in. It's going to be the Glaz up here, actually, and they're both going to back off. NJR, more than likely primed and ready to try and hop in. Bolo's going to be on the CEO windows. Pambazoo with the very first kill as we have the charge ahead from Canadian. He'll run immediately inside of Piano, and that shield not helping him out to the degree that he wanted. Maya will take him down instead. 2 big kills for the defenders. Make it 3 as Maya will find a double kill. And it's down to Nafe and Pambazoo to try and deal with this. Maya still alive, and obviously those Warden glasses helping out a lot in round 8.
Gotta go for kills now. Plant is not an option. 25 seconds left. Gotta find 1 or 2, but he missed that. And Crucial shot gets the second.
Pambazoo. Can he make this happen? They know where the plan is going down, but
no.
I don't think he saw it.
What?
And he's actually able to get him with the SMG-11, but now you've given Pambazoo a chance. He's based himself at the bottom of yellow. I don't know if they're aware that he's in this area. Gonna be holding this angle inside. One will drop down the hatch. Shotgun in hand. Checks around, quick peek, some tags, and a nice peek here from both of the Liquid players. That's exactly how you want to do it. Doesn't even wait for the secondary peek. Nesk just takes the swing, takes the fight as well, and wins out the round.
I think that's as pixel perfect peek you can get, because you saw Pambazoo, he was like flicking left, right, almost getting stuck between the 2 targets because which one do I shoot first? Often when some pro teams, they will peek together, they line up and both will die simultaneously. Other times, one white swing shoot and it's a 1v1 2 times. Liquid had a literal perfect 2v1 swing, but here we see it. A really big blunder from DarkZero, not either droning out the Warden or maybe not even knowing that he was there, because if there's no Warden above, you get the bomb down for sure. But also, Troy started planting before the smoke popped. If that wasn't the Warden, he probably still would have died.
Yeah.
So very small error there from DarkZero with a massive punishment from Liquid.
It's always the little things, man. You're wondering why your friend's complaining at you for the littlest thing you did in Siege? That's the exact reason right there, because it will lose you a round. Even the best in the world sometimes will fall down because of the simple things in Rainbow Six. It's a tie game here between Team Liquid and DarkZero, and it's been a heck of a ball game so far, man. We've been seeing a lot of different looks thrown each and every which way. I think the only consistent thing that we've seen is going to be Canadian on these shields. Yeah, that's it.
That's what he does right now, though. I think last round, I just thought about it. I feel like there might have been a better approach there for Troy. If you give the fuser to somebody else and he goes to the plant, the Blitz then pushes upstairs to like create that chaos, create that space. I think that's how you distract your opponent, because just yinking, delaying, or smoking, it only applies pressure if the opponent thinks there's a push behind it. But they were window repels. They knew there was nobody behind the smoke with the flashbang, so they stuck around. If you hear a Blitz sprinting towards you, you have to respect that. Either give up the ground or fight for it. So because the Blitz was the planter, Liquid, they just sat around waiting. So again, yeah, small things for DarkZero, but I like the fact that Troy's going to keep trying it. That's been their go-to operator. Blitz or Monty every single round, and all they need is 2 more, and they're guaranteed at least overtime. But Liquid, they tied things up 4-4. They got what they wanted.
Well, it's anybody's game here. You guys heard the stats earlier about how defensive-oriented this map can be, but as of right now, I think it's a split show. Both of these teams can really take this. It just really depends on who gets on a heater first. NJR is going to toss drones in for this eastern side. This will try and do an east to west clear for this top area. They spent a lot of time on drones in that last round, Pangu, and it really seemed like they didn't really understand the operators that were available to them. Hard to say with a scenario like that, because obviously we don't get to see everything they see on those cameras, who they scan, yada, yada, yada. And that's really the biggest crux of this. Are they going to be capable of trying to deal with some of these awkward positionings? I truly love this positioning from Nesk here with this Vigil. The big thing about that ERC7 backpack that hides you from drones is that it goes through multiple levels. So when you're playing a map like Consulate and it's 3 floors, you have to really be capable of identifying where you think the potential Vigil could be.
Also deals with the bees, so different ways to utilize it right now. The thing is, for Liquid though, there is none of those like time-wasting operators. No Goyo, no Tuberao, so it's gonna fight this 1 minute time. What's happening in the server?
Huge shots here and some nice finds, but it's gonna be Nate for 2. He's going to be the equalizer here, and hopefully continues to be for DarkZero's sake. They'll definitely need it. And you can see even with this pick that we have from Nace here, yeah, he still has the bomb, but this is a little bit more off the leash, right? We used to see him on very heavy utility-based operators, things like Flores, stuff like that, where he had to sit farther back in the line and couldn't be as aggressive, where he could go for those immediate situations. Now down to the 30-second mark here. They have to try and find a place to plant. IQ and Grim still available. I don't know when they're going to try and activate this Amaru, but we'll just have to see. She's actually barreling her way up yellow stairs right now. A nade in, and a big moment as Resets will take down Nave, and NJR with a nice shot. It's down to the 2 versus 2. Pamba's going to have to be a little bit closer to try and utilize this shotgun. A flash out. He's going to blind himself, and that's the worst case scenario possible. He doesn't know where he is, and that could have been it. A simple decision on where to check the angle goes awry, and Liquid picks up the round.
Did they just lose the round because of a team flash?
Yes, they did.
A self-flash at that. Because you run in there blinded, right next to Valkyrie who's reloading. But if you could see, easy kill. You can't see, no kill at all. I want to say, I think Liquid misplayed that round after getting the first 2 kills. And I think it was a bit of a miscommunication because they got 2 kills, then Nesk left that soda machine position that you liked so much and just swung the IQ inside a break room 1 versus 1. If he just stuck on that soda machine position, I feel like DarkZero were completely locked out. So Liquid overheated a little bit. DarkZero won their gunfights. But with that, it comes down to Pambasu with a very tiny detail, small error, self-flashing and maybe cost the team the round.
Yeah, and that's a big thing about flashes in Rainbow Six. If they're within proximity of you, I believe it's 5 meters, you're full white even if you're looking away from it. So it's a good distance, especially if you have a well-placed flash grenade. And look at that, literally moments away. If there was an extra 3 seconds, we have a gunfight there, and it could go the way of DZ, but just an unfortunate circumstance there. And Maya's face tells you it all. He's like, I don't even know how the hell that happened, but hey, man, that's a round.
Oh, man. I mean, the fact that DC are making these rounds so close and fighting so well, it's a really good sign because this is Team Liquid's map pick. It can really only get better from here, logically speaking, because you tend to do better on your own pick, of course. It's where you want to play at. And I don't want to count DarkZero out whatsoever. I generally think that the last 2 rounds could have been theirs, but it was going to Team Liquid. So if that, those small issues don't go the wrong way for DarkZero, we're going to see him start picking up some rounds here because it has been down to the wire on both that CEO and lobby attack previously.
Give it some space here initially as DarkZero is going to start to take their time a little bit more. Love that they have these info ops in here as well, especially with the Jackal and Pambasu. I think this is a fantastic adjustment. All of y'all saw Mint there just nodding his head at everything that Canadian was saying. It's like, this guy's spitting right now. So what else would you expect? That's the beauty of probably being the coach of DarkZero, is just knowing that you really don't have to worry too much about your timeout timing just because Canadian is so knowledgeable. And he's been around the block for the entirety of Pro League's existence. So it's just
the very beginning.
Yeah, how much more background do you want? It's pretty incredible.
Also, speaking of him, off the shield operator, of course. You tried a couple times, didn't really change the outcome of the round, so get a gun instead, get that roam clear. DarkZero, they've been a little bit slower on their attacks recently. They stopped rushing, like again, at a halfway round, or halfway mark rather, where they get the more or less full roam clear. Can start doing verticality towards the bomb side if they want to, but the issue is it's a 5v5 against 2-barrel, Smoke, Kaid, and Clash. If you only have less than a minute to work with on the bomb side, things might get really dire for you in terms of the timer on the clock.
Okay, maybe I was counting them. Nick saw me just like counting over here as he was just smacking the thing. I was like, 1, 2, 3. Takes 9 hits, by the way, in case somebody was wondering.
Yep, does take 9 hits.
9 hits. They changed that on us too.
It did. It was 12, and it's 9.
Man, that screwed with me for a good year.
It did. I kept breaking them as well. It happens, man. It happens.
I just apologized to my cast and be like, I'm so sorry. Maya's not going to apologize to Canadian, though. Nitro sell out, but no, it's a Smoke. I misread the situation, but Bambazu doesn't. He's going to gun down Nesk, and somehow, some way, they've made this equal. Definitely not on the map, though. They still have to try and find somehow, some way into this round on the basement level. A Smoke out, no Warden available, but also no Glass here for the offense to try and see through that. So this is a true break of LOS. Maya will be dedicated to this angle right next to the door frame, trying to hold on to things for an extended period of time. And JR will take down Palu, and all of a sudden DarkZero's in the driver's seat. But that could change very, very quickly, especially with Maya with a big kill. Almost gets 2 there, as he's going to half Nafe's HP. Bambazu down to 40. A nice angle here for 1 and 2. Resets with the DMR. He just had to hit him once, and that's all it took. That man almost ran off with the headset. This is what we were trying to tell you. If you thought that Liquid was a little down in the dumps every once in a while when something went wrong before, Maya, he's the alternative. He is the factor that will change everything for this team and keep their emotional basis intact.
I do think, though, that Liquid, they recognize that they're stealing these rounds. Like, sure, they're doing well, they're making good decisions, but they're winning off these small, I almost want to call it cheese situations, right? For example, the 2 clutches in that round, they have a clash with low timer left. You're just guaranteed to win the round, but it's not just that simple, because they also had Maya playing that forward position very aggressively, finding almost 2 kills. Then their resets on the backline, holding a very strong angle with Clash giving intel. So, of course, Liquid, they play really well together, but it comes down to DC running out of time with a Clash in the board. But whose fault is that? It's not Liquid's fault. They're playing the game smart. DC, they don't have the answers right now, which is why they've called their tactical timeout.
Yeah, I think this is where the caveat is for me. I think everything you said is absolutely true, up into the point of Team Liquid are setting up the board like crazy right now.
They are.
That top floor clear that DarkZero had to deal with, they went for the full clear of the entire map. And on Consulate, that's quite a bit to process, but when Team Liquid is also applying all of these different utility pieces all the way up to practically almost the 3rd level, you have all these castle barricades and everything to work with. DarkZero is having to jump through all of these hoops. And the other thing that you have to remember, guys, is that they have to secure info on these scenarios. You can't just walk around willy-nilly and be like, I'm just going to blow open this castle barricade. Like, that's not how this works. That is how Liquid would just punish you to the nth degree. So DarkZero has to respect that, right, Nick? So that's the biggest thing, is like, when they set up the board like that, it's really hard for DZ right now.
You do have to respect it, but with that being said, you can't respect your opponent too much, right?
True.
You gotta be like, you know what, I understand you have C4 below, I'm not gonna plant here, that's respect. But don't go, you know what, I'm afraid that maybe you have this, that, and I don't really know, so I'm just gonna wait around. It's like, the timer's ticking down, they have a Clash, 2-barrel, you need the timer on your side on the attack. So either you go fast early to buy yourself time for later in the round, or you go fast later on to make a very secure roam clear. You can't go slow into slow into slow, then you have last round scenario, you attack with 2 seconds left on the clock, that's when you into the bomb side door and you're dead.
Yeah.
So for this potential final round of the first map, I want to see DarkZero, regardless of outcome, just go a bit faster, either earlier on or later. They gotta change their pace. They can't go in the same pace the entirety of the round.
Yeah. Use this early minute to gain the confidence in the portion of the map that you want.
Yeah,
That's
and then go from there.
Exactly. That's what you need, and you got to double down on these scenarios. I'm totally with you on that. And hopefully that's something that DarkZero coincides with. Gonna have the Ash charge out here. Take down at least a castle barricade. This could be the first domino for DarkZero's demise at the hands of Team Liquid. Bambazu. Very important fight up against this castle that's walking back and forth across this far wall. This little split section is just such a nice space to play. We see a lot of players centralize around this because that is a permanent wall. This is not something that you can break, so it makes life a lot easier. Really far angle out there to the left too, but I mean, I'm starting to see an inkling of what we saw previously. DarkZero might not want to give up the goods, but also we do want to see them get on this gas pedal eventually.
I mean, they're playing loose right now, and I like this because they're just trying to find a gap somewhere in the map. And I think Pampus has the right idea here. He can walk up. We know from top-down view, no one's really by this position. But the issue is no one's droning for Pamba. There is no Dokkaebi.
Oh, no.
So if he gets bad timing here, he wins that gunfight, thankfully, for DarkZero.
Absolutely. Lagonis goes fishing, but it's Pambazoo that gets a bite instead, and he'll take a chunk out of Team Liquid. Lagonis goes down, a minute and 17 left, and this is where you want to see the Piranhas. You want to see that flurry get dusted up here from DZ, and Pambazoo, he wants to keep going. He's going to work his way over towards the Teller stairs. This is exactly what we need to see. Somebody has to get downstairs and try and deal with Palu. There's going to be a couple of other players around as well. They'll drop in. NJR takes out resets. They've completely circumnavigated these top areas. And all of DarkZero practically downstairs getting a successful plant off.
Attackers are activating the bomb diffuser.
Nice little moment there. Maybe he'll take down Palu. It's going to be Maya with the find. Now it's going to be a retake here for Team Liquid with only Maya and Nesk at the helm. Very low HP as well, and does look like, for all intents and purposes, we will be going to a round 12, so we'll at least have max capacity inside of regulation. Maya, a little bit of a turncoat with that T5 skin, literally using the DarkZero skin on his gun. Come on, man. Some flashes out. And, that's going to be it. Pambazoo for 2, and I do believe 3 or 4 inside of that round alone, so very well done for him. Himself as well as NJR playing so very well throughout this map.
And that right there was a very simple, but you saw the vision from DarkZero. Just get somebody in the map. Everyone's fishing for their own area. Pambazoo had mainly Visa staircase. You had Troy going through the basement with the Jackal, just scanning for footsteps, etc. And then the rest of DarkZero mostly droning and holding passive angles, waiting for a rotation from Liquid to act upon what's happening on the map. And you saw the second Pambazoo got that first kill. Liquid, they start moving a ton around the map. Then Jackal comes in from basement. They find the bomb side player of Palu, and then it's all over. DC, they hit that basement bomb side, get down that diffuser, and it's just GG from there. 6-5, still favoring Team Liquid.
I don't like asking questions on the desk, Pengy, but I have to ask this.
You can ask.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Are we getting overtime here? What do you think? Which way is this going?
Honestly, okay, so I'm gonna just look at the upper lineup here, okay? If I see Armor Blitz from DarkZero, I'm thinking no.
Okay.
Because I think it'll be a quick round, but in the wrong way.
Okay.
I think DarkZero need to... Oh, see, there's the glass again. Now I'm gonna be worried. This is top 4 attack against a Warden, against Omai, against the Smoke. I think this can go really wrong really quickly, especially because when we see this kind of lineup, almost every single team will go for a CEO, yellow stairs, kind of default execute, and I think Liquid are too good to lose to that. Of course, DC, they can clutch up, they can hit some good shots, whatever. But I think fundamentally, without any bias, I think Liquid, they are too prepared for this. Warden's starting position is even yellow side. They're expecting something to happen there. He can see through smokes, he can see through flashbangs. So DarkZero, if they gotta win out with this other lineup, they gotta play it perfectly and counter Liquid in those small moments in the round.
As DarkZero overcooked it. They overcomplicated the scenario for themselves, bringing it down to this last round where maybe their strategy's already been nipped in the bud before they even know it. Lots of patience here. Nave holding this angle for the checkers area upstairs. It's a pretty tight one, but you need that singular round to enter the skull of your opponent. And all of a sudden, you got a frag on your hands. Camera, that is a lot more permanent than the old one. They took away all the windows on the outside, a bunch of metal sheets there now. Womp womp. Found that one out last week again. I literally ran outside all the way to that. Yeah, and I was like, oh, Ubisoft, come on. But no, it really needed to happen because that was like the default for everybody, all the way down to like silver. You just run right over there and shoot the cam.
See, this is what I don't like about the lineup. There's 4 players now, 3 on the roof just waiting and joining and looking around. DarkZero have no map control whatsoever. They only have Appen just in this very moment. Liquid, they know this. They know there's no pressure. They expect the rush. They expect to execute. And they got Nesk behind the bubble shield on that soda machine position to the right of Nave here. So they got everything locked down. They know yellow is somewhat clear. They know soda machine is clear for now. But there it is. Pamba down yellow, finds a shotgun kill onto resets. That's going to create chaos for Liquid.
Oh, this is going to be a little crazy. The pulses here, or rather the blitz to try and push forward and handle this scenario. But DarkZero, they all of a sudden blitz and get all the kills. 3 frags down. They've only lost Bo to a nitro cell, so no true gunfight win for Liquid just yet as they'll move forward. The blitz will find him, and he's going to get out the pistol, but Canadian too late to the party. And Palu rips him to shreds with the MPX.
But that's, again, very risky play there. You could just back out, take the safe route, play that 4v2 rather, because now it's a 3 versus 2. And now it's a stalemate. 40 seconds left, and the attack is split. Pambasu, yellow staircase. Actually, DarkZero rotating. They're going on the roof, go back to yellow stairs.
What a find. That's exactly what we need out of Pambasu. Quick identification and a quick dispatch of Maya. Now it's down to Lagonis. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Which way do you swing? Which way do you go? He knows this player's over on yellow. A little bit of patience, but what a move there from Pambasu. Shotgun out, but too many cooks in the kitchen from DarkZero. And they'll take down Liquid. Overtime here, and Pangy, I just don't think you got it anymore, man.
I ain't got it anymore, and I gotta say, the one reason why I was so wrong especially was thanks to Pambasu, because he made the biggest possible play that anyone from DC could do there. He went yellow staircase alone, 0 drones, armor, shotgun. He has a 1v1 gunfight with resets on the Warden. If he wins that gunfight, everybody from Liquid is gonna turn their guns from admin side back towards yellow, because chaos. Guess what? Pambasu, he won it outright, didn't even take any point of damage, and that created enough space for the rest of DarkZero to push admin and get those couple of kills.
Well, and also to your credit, the thing that you were truly worried about was them completely defaulting out and going for the CEO
and they
plan.
didn't.
And just trying to, you know, add blitz for that little bit of chaotic energy, right?
Yep.
But they didn't. You have 2 coming in from the east. You have Pambasu over on the west on the yellow staircase, completely chilling out and just waiting for his moment to arise. And then the activation, right, past obviously kind of the nuances that we saw from DZ over on that eastern border, then just firing some shots off, trying to get, you know, Liquid to give them some looks, was the spiral play. When we see those 2 come in spiral, and you see the eye contact from the respective player on Liquid and Canadian on Blitz, that's when things really start to get chaotic. As you would know, in the server, in those comms, everybody's like, there's somebody right in front of me, and you're like, well, I can't help you because there's a guy right in front of me.
Yeah, it's so hard to have intel in these moments, and I think it's why both teams have been playing mostly just guns up. We've seen, you know, maybe 1 or 2 rounds of pulls from DarkZero. We saw them play a one-time Valkyrie. Liquid, almost on all of their defenses, have not played a whole lot of active intel. It comes down to guns up, you know, in-game sound on the server, and communicating where you need your pieces to go to establish those crossfires. So a very big change up now with that being said, because Liquid are bringing Melusi, Valkyrie, and the Pulse. They got all the intel now to figure out where is DarkZero attacking from, and that's going to bode very well for them, because again, DarkZero, they bring that glass, the blitz, the ying. So now, if Liquid can get the correct amount of intel, slow down DarkZero on the execute with those Banshees, they might have a better chance of finding picks when it comes down to that chaotic scenario again.
You have to be really worried. Oh, that's the 3rd right there. Watch this, guys. This one's going to be pretty fun. Aren't you excited? Oh, the move! No! Pambasu! He gets nuked by that nitro cell falling out of the sky. That was the last thing I thought was going to happen there. Genuinely, I thought it was a good move from Pamba as well. He's like, I'm going to try and challenge this down, and the nitro cell descends from the sky, descends from the heavens, and sends him straight to hell.
And yeah, I was smiling in the player cam that happened, because he was the glass on the roof on the drone. I think he saw that from the drone perspective, like, that's so goofy. Like, what is going on, guys? And there it is, the drone on yellow staircase, that's a GRs. Now Troy has to generate space instead, but that's a blitz 1v1. That's not going to go anywhere against the UMP.
Oh, man. That was so strong from Maya there. And once again, we have a very similar situation to the blitz plant earlier. We're peeking before the smoke pops, and it gives info to the defense. There's no Warden even available for Team Liquid, but you don't need it when the smoke isn't there. Down to 2 players for DarkZero now. There's a minute remaining, and Nate, he's found some space, but now he's got a world of hurt ahead of him, especially with Nesk at the helm. He'll take him down to Bo in an awkward situation. But who else would you want here in a 1 versus 5 with a crazy, crazy gun? He won't have to reload for any of these gunfights at all unless he overcooks it a bit. He's taken the info away from them, minus the black eye cams that are more than likely around, but he doesn't know the positioning of the player inside of CEO. And Liquid will take the defense.
That round played out how I feared it would for DarkZero the previous time. And it wasn't a top 4 attack, but that was a default yellow execute that just fell apart entirely. And I mean, it starts off with Pambasu seeing an opportunity. And I think it's very important to note here, I think Panda made the right play, as you said as well. You hear the pulse, rip the C4. If you drop down and shoot him, you know you're safe. But the issue is the C4 trajectory, it got stuck in the beam. That's what happened. I was gonna say, I think it actually went up and then down again, but it got stuck to the beam, which takes out Panda and keeps Pulse alive. Unlucky.
That's no other way to put it.
And you see this the smile there from MDR.
So unlucky, yeah, and Little smirk there, but not going to be all smiles if they end up losing this. It's going to be a pretty frustrated DarkZero as they come so close to being successful here. And all giggles for Maya. I love that guy, man. I really do. As a player, as a person, he is a truly great dude and a hell of a Siege player. I mean, my God, man. Two of the DarkZero guys having a little bit of a complication, guys. We're going to get this sorted out before we head into what could be the most important round of this entire Consulate.
The thing about Maya, because you're right, like right now, great dude, great player, but when he first joined Liquid, he was not it. He was not the solution. He almost looked like the problem, and Liquid's had this issue for a relatively long time, similar to G2 as well, where they have their 4-player core, and they just get a new 5th player, and it doesn't work out. New 5th player, doesn't work out. And Maya has been a star player on all of his previous rosters, who just excels individually and to enable his team and be enabled himself. He joins Liquid the first month, 3 weeks, I don't know. He drops 1 kill a game. He looks like he is completely lost, doesn't fit into the Liquid system.
There it is.
And then all of a sudden, there he is.
Yeah.
He's showing up. He's being enabled, enabling the others, and Ness got into that entry position again, and things got much better from there. Well,
it's that man right there. It's Lagonis that changed all of that for them.
Yeah.
Because what you said, that very last thing that you said about Liquid, that's why, for me personally, that's why Maya was having such a struggle. Liquid played such a different version of Siege than he did. You look back to what he was doing on Los, you look back to, you know, like the Atlanta Major, completely different guy. When he came over to Liquid, he was still trying to have a few of those tropes, and I mean, you know, all respect, Maya is fantastic when he gets to play like that, right? It's just that that was not Liquid's game. That's not how they looked at the game of Siege. But hey, things change. People have to evolve. And two of the players that exist on this Liquid roster know all about that. It's going to be Palu and it's going to be Nesk. Yeah. We've seen them do everything except true hard support at the end of the day, right? We've seen them do everything under the sun. And I think it just came to a time when they're like, we need to make a change. We're going to go get Lagonis. And Lagonis has really changed things up for this roster. I think Liquid look really good in this current iteration. And I hope that they continue to prosper because, fingers crossed here, knock on wood, anything you guys do for luck, I genuinely hope that these guys win a major soon. I remember casting the Yongchiping final, and, you know, unbiased bias caster as always, right? Because you're always going to have your own biases. I was super happy for BDS as they won their first major. I was gutted to watch one of my personal favorite players of all time, Nesk, have to go through what he's gone through so many times before and just see his hopes and dreams crushed right there live on stage.
Yeah, and I love the story between Liquid and DarkZero because they have some similarities in that 5v5 roster, you know? Lagonis, the brains of the operation for Liquid, who doesn't get that many kills typically, and Canadian, same story. In this match, they're both playing shields half the rounds, right? You see a lot of the same kind of traits where you build around a specific player who's going to IGL, who's going to lead the team, they got their knowledge of the game, and Liquid and DarkZero, despite having that same similarity style, they play the game so differently. And it just goes to show again with Siege, so many different teams will have their unique identities on attack and on defense, the operators they play, how they utilize them, of course, which players they have on the roster, and which kind of operators that they main. Back in the day, teams only played multi or Ying if you had like a Ying or multiplayer, and those were rare to come by. Nowadays, it's, you know, evolution. Players have gotten so much better. Every single team can play Ying, every team can play multi. There's not many operators these days where you go, you know what, I only see this team play this. Usually, it's most teams can play this, but some teams just do it a little bit better.
Yep. If it's good, it's getting played.
Yep.
And that's the thing. That's why you don't see sense, because that operator's trash. So.
What about... What's happening here? What? Sense is catching shots, stray shots.
Yeah, not stray, direct. I was being very direct with what I said. And I'll say it again, that character is terrible. It's the worst operator in all of Rainbow Six Siege.
So we have Mozzie on defense and Sense on attack. Is that how it goes?
Yeah. Is Mozzie my most hated defender? I don't even think I've asked myself that question. I have to think about that for a bit, especially with...
You think we come back about it on next map? How about that?
All right. Sounds good to me. Yeah, but definitely for offense, if you play Sense around me, I might just team kill you, honestly. I mean, you're more worthless dead on cameras than you are throwing up light screens where I can't see and they can. So, hey.
Skill issue, play glass.
You're crazy. I'm not playing glass, dude. I don't have Glacier on that gun. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Neither is Team Liquid this time. We've seen a lot of glass play, a lot of smoke play from both sides here. Mostly for DC, actually. But Liquid, 1 minute back on the clock. They go admin. They're going for this like semi-rogue play right now. We have top floor hold from DarkZero. Bolo playing Soda Machine. Nave playing Bathroom towards Yellow Staircase. Canadian would post downstairs looking for a C4 kill. That can be a way up. You said it. play basement, see all the way up, get those angles going. But what is this?
God. And it's all off that info. We're getting fed info from downstairs. Pambazoo with 2 big kills. The B's out. They know he's there, but this is what we're saying about Bo. There's a famous quote from Canadian. Have you ever had to fight this man around a shield? It's the most terrifying thing you've ever seen. And that's practically the same scenario. You have to deal with Bo. With him swinging off of an angle, he's just absolutely disgusting. Pambazoo with a flawless round. DarkZero looking damn good to force us to max capacity here on Consulate.
That was an incredibly the fastest round I think we've seen so far. Yes. And both teams just said, you know what, let's brawl. Liquid they swing, DarkZero they swing right back on a moment's notice. And it brings us in classic DarkZero fashion to 15 rounds, 7-7. And this is really comfortable territory for DC because they always go here every single time for years on end.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, Pangy. And not only that, but just to get back to that last round again.
Man.
Dude, what's up?
Poor Mint, he must be so stressed. I mean, maybe he's like, it's a normal day. Yeah. But he's got to be stressed about this.
You got to remember, he's been on the roster as long as Canadian, actually longer than Canadian has for this team. He knows all about DarkZero's antics and the fact that it's probably going to take all of OT up against these good teams to figure this out. Just the way that things go sometimes. That's super unfortunate there, but to what I was saying previously, was that not the most default Consulate round you've ever seen in your life? We have an admin clear across, we have a pulse all the way downstairs, like just all of the usual tropes that you see, that's what everybody goes for. And it's just DarkZero winning it out in spectacular fashion.
For the first time, I think nothing out of the norm really happened. There was none of those like fancy operators, nothing like split pushing, no surprises, like it played out into like 50-50 gunfights. But I will say a little bit sloppy from Team Liquid, not playing close enough together to guarantee a trade of some sort. Not getting to use the utility, not having the drone work. But again, for DarkZero, they swung out at the right moment and won their gunfights respectively. And now we go on to this final round. Canadian has said, you know what? The Blitz didn't work ever, basically. Maybe Monty's gonna work out instead because Canadian scoreboard-wise is 3-12, not great, but I have to say he has gotten pretty good value on defense with intel and on attack playing his shields to enable his teammates some of those rounds. So the scoreline doesn't tell the full story there for Canadian.
When you speak of enabling, and that's exactly what Bo's here for. Not only is it Bo on Finka, it's Bo on Finka with an LMG, and those adrenal surges, for those that don't know, are huge for shield players. You get to ADS faster, you get a little extra health. It's all good in the world of a shield player when an adrenal surge goes off. It's really great. So a minute off the board here, and the biggest thing for me, for DarkZero for this round, is that we cannot stall out. We saw what happened on this basement the last time. They tried to deal with the whole kit and caboodle. They were trying to deal with the basement finally at like 45 seconds remaining, and it all fell off the wagon.
I think that's what the Monty can change though, because Monty either you go main breach, get down a plant with the verticality buff like we see right now, or you can rotate that backside portion a little bit quicker because Monty can just walk on in, check the corners, and keep advancing forward. Those drones, you drone a door, it dies. You take the room. Drone the next door, drone dies, take that room. It's a very slow progression. Whereas the Canadian right now, he's actually doing flank watch while applying some of that phantom pressure because the smoke player down here for Nesk, he doesn't know if Monty is alone or not. And you have to respect the fact that Monty is in that portion of the map. Liquid rotating their kite claws to the backhand side of things. They think DC want to go for a backside execute. And right now, they wouldn't be entirely wrong, but DC have not chosen their mark just yet. We saw NGR Silhouette a bit ago, rotating all the way from Visa towards Yellow Staircase. This looks like to me that, DC, they want to go for a frontside take, and those kite claws and 2 bro canisters, they're gonna start, you know, falling off. Only 2 left in pocket for Maya, 1 left now, but this will be a sub 20-second execute for DC. It's gonna come down to the wire in good old fashion for this team.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hell in the Cell. We're locking them in right now, and this play has to start stat. There's no other way about it. As soon as that last canister is dispelled, exothermic will go off, and Monty will walk in. And as you said, it's going to be sub 25 seconds, but I will give you a 5-second buffer. That is very close. Lagonis is going to take down Bo, and it's already going so wrong for DarkZero. They'll lose too early, and remember, Canadians on that Monty. He has to stay extended, and that's all she wrote. It's down to 1, and we'll practically call it a back-to-back flawless there as Liquid deal the death blow to DarkZero here on Consulate. It just takes all 15.
Such a disappointing final round to a very exciting series. There's so many back and forth in both teams, and it comes down to when DC play their older school style of game where they are slower and when they're not as aggressive and unpredictable, that doesn't work anymore, because that round looked like Liquid had no pressure, they were not worried. They were like, okay, they're gonna attack yellow stairs, they're gonna take the breach and the hatch, hold those 3 angles, win the round.
Yeah, and they made it even worse by bringing in the freeze canisters, right?
But it's so smart.
Yeah, it was like, oh, hey, what if we just made it where you couldn't open the breach for 45 seconds? That'd suck, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah, okay. So, and the other portion is we run into the same exact issue we saw in that previous round with that basement. They had no idea what the positionings of Liquid were.
Yeah.
And that's what you and I were hoping that they would fix. But obviously, once again, we come to this moment where too close to the sun, they burn up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw you down to Ginny and Fresh to break down this game.
All right, this one went all the way to OT in typical DZ fashion, but they're unable to close it out.
Yeah, I think that was a really high-quality game, though, Ginny. Right from start to finish, obviously, we had 15 rounds. And I just want to caveat that as well. Like, high-quality game, it came down to really marginal decisions that was made into rounds. Big clutches, you know, especially that one where DZ didn't quite get over the line because it was just down to time. That was ultimately their undoing, but it started off with Team Liquid, and they were really variable in their attack. They were going for fast attacks, they were going for slow attacks, changing it up, making it really hard for DZ to guess and predict what was going to happen. When DZ got onto their attacks, I think surprisingly, they did the same as well. The only difference was when DZ was slow, they weren't quite as effective as were Liquid when they were slow.
It sounds like you're telling me a story about how there is a very big importance on changing things up but staying consistent with the pace. And it felt like when we were looking at Team Liquid, they were able to capitalize a lot of those really small marginal mistakes, and that was not necessarily something that we've seen DZ do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, ultimately, I don't want to be too harsh here, but Liquid have probably 4 or 5 players on that team that can capitalize on those mistakes. Yeah. Whereas I think for DZ, you're looking more at their front three to be able to do that. You know, Nath and Canadian aren't necessarily known for their fragging ability as such. Canadian was trying to get involved with the shields. I think, you know, that's been the big thing for DarkZero's success, but it didn't really play out today. Liquid looks like they were very prepared for it.
Yeah, Liquid was very much logged in, and it was like looking at their table where they had like multiple stacks of strats and just paper coming into this. I'm not saying that that's not the case for DZ, but I think as well, one thing to really commemorate here is the fact that this was Liquid's map pick. This is where they wanted to go, and DZ have had that ability to push them literally down to the very last second.
Yeah, I said on the desk in the pre-game that I thought that I was a certified DZ hater previously. I didn't really like their playstyle. And I said to you that DZ of 6 months ago would have lost that game absolutely, like, astronomically. Like, they wouldn't have been able to go toe-to-toe with the way Liquid were playing. Today they did. Yeah. Another couple of decisions go another way. They're looking at map 1 and having taken Liquid's map on the main stage. So their progression is coming along. It maybe isn't quite there yet, but, you know, it's coming far.
Another difference I feel like that we were seeing between both teams is like Liquid is genuinely so energetic. They were screaming, they were shouting, they were getting out of their chairs, they were fist bumping. And one of the players from DZ that we're always seeing around that similar theme is Canadian. And it didn't feel like that was the case this time, right? It felt like very quiet, even though it was a close game.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes the case with Troy. Sometimes he gets really, really up for it and wants to be the main guy. And then sometimes he tries to stay more level-headed for the team. I think he does a lot of taking that attention onto himself away from the rest of the team. And I think that's deliberate as to the games that he does need to... If he feels that he needs to bring his team upwards, he will. And he'll get hype and he'll get active. But when I think he feels like his team needs to calm down, that's when he'll be quite calm himself.
When you're looking at the way everything played out in this first map, are you expecting DZ to maybe bring that energy upward? Do you think it's maybe better to stay level-headed and play to whatever you have prepped beforehand? I
think stay level-headed. If you look at some of the rounds that they lost, it was minute, and I'm talking minute details that lost them the rounds, going in together, you know, allowing aggression to be re-swung into them. Those aren't things that you want your team... You don't want your team to be more energetic, because then you give more opportunities for that. I think on the whole, DZ actually had a really good game, and they need to just kind of put that last map away from them now. They could have won it, sure, they didn't, but they are actually playing really well.
In a different universe they could have, but it wasn't this one. And I think something to really look forward to is how they're going to change coming into that next map, what the adaptability is going to be coming through, because it was so incredibly close. But we're ready to head over to a Telestrator segment with Anne, who's going to be breaking down some of the success that Liquid has found on their own map pick.
Thank you so much, Ginny. Yes, I'm here. I have a clip from Liquid, and we're going back all the way to the very first round, which feels like it was ages ago, but it's showing some good surprise factor from Liquid. Now, in the very first round, we are seeing Liquid get set up. They're rappelling outside these windows, making sure they have that pressure on towards meeting. There's a drone downstairs as well, checking to make sure that everything is clear over there. And we have some players setting themselves up around the meeting balcony. Now, whilst this is going on, they're using this kind of as a distraction, because at the same time, or simultaneously, we're also seeing players around the CEO window. Gonna scroll forward just a little bit so we get there faster, because this is the situation that's going on there. We're seeing smoke grenades from the attackers over at the CEO window. We're seeing 2 players on the side of DC also being affected by the lion skin, by the Grim Bees as well. They think because of this pressure, the plan has to go down at the CEO window. That's what they're expecting. They're using the smoke canisters for it. They're using a C4 as well. The plan isn't gonna go down there. There's only just a player rappelling. Now we're seeing NGR swing around the door, and surprise, there is an Amaru shotgun facing him directly there. He is gonna get surprised by that. We're seeing now, of course, the plan go down here on the side as well. We're seeing Resets jump in. He gets rid of the bulletproof cam. And unfortunately, over on the side of meeting, there's a bit of a misplaced smoke canister. That allows Lagonis to go for the plant. He spots the opportunity there, gets the plant down as well. And we're seeing at the same time the good post-plant position here. We're seeing resets around the CEO desk. He is waiting. He is just waiting for the players to swing around the corner. They don't have any information on this whatsoever, so we're looking to see a good post-plant here. They're trying to do something about it on the side of DarkZero, but it isn't successful. A great surprise factor that we're seeing from the side of Liquid. Now, we do have a second map coming up after this. The second map will be Cafe. That is a chance for DarkZero to bring it back. We'll have to see if they can do it. Before we head to Cafe, we're heading to a quick break.
Ready, set, go.
You ever wondered how a Hollywood movie is shot? On a Sony. You review it on a Sony. And how do you make that sound epic? You record it on a Sony. Lunch break on a Sony. So why wouldn't you watch it on a Bravia by Sony?
I'd say as the veteran and kind of most experienced player in the scene, I have a lot of memories from competing. I'd say probably the best ones, obviously winning both invitationals. I'd say the second one, SI 2020, is probably my most memorable. That one definitely sticks out the most because I think I kind of went through a bit of adversity to get there. Had won before and then went through a big drought and then winning again. I think that was a very special feeling. To get comfortable is probably one of the most important things when attending international events. You're always in a different environment, so things are different. You can't control it all at the end of the day. You know, the desk might be different, it might be cold, it might be hot, time zones different, all sorts of different things. So I think just taking your time to get comfortable and get used to things. We're a team that doesn't usually rush things. We like to take, you know, if we're tired from traveling first 2 days, you know, we don't practice. We make sure we stay up, get our sleep schedule in order, all that. So yeah, just getting things in order, getting comfortable. No, I wouldn't say there's any role changes coming in after the Manchester Major. I mean, that was our second event as a team together since we picked up Bolo and Nave. Every good team, you know, it takes some time to figure things out and continue to improve. I think kind of right away, maybe just after SI, we figured out the roles that we like on the team and the positions we like people in. After Manchester, though, we just kind of continued to expand and build on kind of the foundation that we have. So I think overall, our playbook and just how we play, it's a lot deeper than it was at Manchester or previous events. The big bad Canadian, loud and ridiculous, and the calm side, I think they both have their times. I think it's kind of what the team needs. Firing on all cylinders and, you know, playing really well. I definitely get hyped and excited and when we're in a tight match like that. But there's definitely times to stay calm and stay focused. You know, sometimes in those tight matches, you know, you have to bring it back and focus on the next round. So sometimes you can't really get too crazy or anything like that. Honestly, personally, I've never been someone that gets too hung up on the meta. I find ways to enjoy each one, I'd say. I'd say my least favorite was probably when I was on SSG just after we won, with Wamai and Jaeger at their strongest and shields everywhere. I think it was just kind of going into that when we won SI there, and then it got really bad just after. I think that was probably my least favorite. But I've always been able to kind of find enjoyment in what's going on at the moment. I definitely really enjoy the meta at the moment. For me, I'd say the role of IGL hasn't changed too much. I think one of the big things is the level of competition just constantly raising. I think because more teams have, you know, good IGLs and good coaching staff and all that, it makes it a more demanding job and harder to do. I think early on, my teams probably set themselves ahead because I had a high standard for myself and the team, and there probably wasn't as many teams with that, but I think, you know, there's more and more competitive teams with that kind of high standard. It makes it more difficult to be at the top, but I think that's something I enjoy. I'm a competitive guy, so, you know, I think fighting for it and earning it is still just as fun.
If you wanna see some action, enter my zone, shut down the competition. Stand up from the crowd, yeah, I'm the main attraction.
Welcome back to the EWC studios. My name is Stokes and I'm joined with Pangu. We just got off of Consulate between Team Liquid and DarkZero. And if you don't want the result, well, here's a little bit of spoiler. It's already on the screen at the top left if you have good eyes. I was going to say I was going to be quiet for a second, but yeah, Liquid took the first map. DarkZero is going to have to try and dig deep here to not only take Cafe, but also take Clubhouse. Pengu, not only welcome back to the casting desk, but also, how you feeling about this? We're going to Cafe. This is a map that in recent history, when we were talking about adjusting the map pool, a lot of people pointed out and said, why isn't Cafe gone?
Yeah, you know, Oregon disappeared in, you know, the stage to come, and Lair came in. What about Cafe? I think Cafe, it's time to let go of this map, okay? It's very much rappel-oriented. I think shields will be difficult for DarkZero, so I want to see what they can do without the Blitz, without the Monty, because when it came down to the actual 5v5 without that kind of shield play, Liquid were the better team on Consulate, but it wasn't just Liquid winning, it was all the way to 15.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a very difficult thing to try and pull off on Cafe. Shield play here does not really coexist too well, especially when it comes to the top floor bomb site and those two mid floor bomb sites. Downstairs is a little bit easier because you can just like walk in things like Bakery and have a little influence. But when you're dropping down Red Hatch, or jumping over, you know, Skylight, these things are not gonna go well for you in the slightest. Liquid's gonna ban out Mute again here.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. How are you feeling about these Mute bans?
I like the Mute ban on Cafe rather, but also, actually it makes sense on both maps because there are so many like doors with a slight gap next to it. You put a jammer there, the drone can't get in there, etc. You also enable Grim a lot more because the Grim beast won't spot you if you're in a Mute jammer. So I like this kind of innovative ban here from Liquid. I also think that a team like DarkZero, they like to do counter intel. Liquid, they are such an information-reliant team on the attack. That Mute, you know, all those 4 Mute jammers can really stall out Liquid's attack inside, and this is, again, Liquid starting attack. They want to actually ensure they get as many rounds as possible, looking at 3-3 or 4-2-half in their favor.
Yeah, 100%. And Cafe, this is a map that trends towards the defensive end when it comes to quite a few bomb sites, but it can be easily exploited by the offense, but you do have to pay for the ticket to ride on Cafe. That's what I always say. This map is extremely difficult to clear on a utility front. This is one of those maps that back in the day, Nick, you guys probably had this as well. Cafe is one of those maps where it's like when you're trying to get the whole team on the same page to clear, you're probably going to play that map like 5 times in one day just to get things down, to get these things properly ordered, because as soon as you don't, especially back in the day with ADSs, if you burn things out improperly, you're screwed. You can't get rid of things like Pixel or Bathroom or Cocktail upstairs. So many important things that really rest on the shoulders of DarkZero to try and exploit right now. We'll see how that goes as we jump into our first round here.
So we spoke about how shields, they're not like typically super great on Cafe. I do think there are some exceptions, but if you look at like 100 rounds, maybe 10 of those, 15 of those will play with the shield operator. I like this starting gun here for Liquid with Lagunas on the Monty because it gives you that big overview of, okay, these are the play positions, this is where the enemies like mirror windows are, for example. And what you can do with Monty on this particular round is if you can go through Piano Room right now and not get C4 from below and train, you can just walk up, melee punch that mirror window, and destroy that position for DarkZero. So probably gonna be a slow start here. Again, because it's a new map, not Consulate any longer, teams gotta feel out each other. Who's gonna go fast, who's gonna go where? Is Liquid gonna go for a downstairs attack or upstairs? So right now they're trying to do both, breaking the hatches upstairs and also walking in from Bakery.
Oh, what a discovery here from NJR.
Ow. Wait, that was the wall bang.
That was incredible.
Huh?
Yeah, hey, you know what? We're just not going to talk about it.
It's still going. Someone check this man.
Nesk is literally sitting there like, how the hell did he know that I was there? I'm so confused. Little angle here. We can see from Canadian. I don't know if they had like a slight breach there before, but it didn't seem like it. Smokes in Monty, and the bomb is on Monty. EE1D out. Monty walking forward, and he's found his player. This should be pretty simplistic, and yeah, that's going to be all she wrote.
Wait.
Where did the other player go? They didn't swing with the Monty, and now Maya, he's locked inside of Train. This has gotten all of a sudden extremely awkward. Gonna try and work his way around, but the super does the damage. Nesk, he'll be able to find him finally, but Liquid, they're falling to pieces all because they didn't handle Canadian correctly.
They trolled. I gotta say, Lagunas trolled that. Went for the melee, didn't extend again, and died from Nathan instead of dining right next to him. And they fall from Liquid again. There's no utility for clear. There's a Lion, there's a Nomad. They couldn't deal with Canadian inside of that Train position. Now all DC gotta do is hold this on the lock and key. Don't take those around. Don't expose yourself. Just hold this verticality, but don't active swing it, Pamasu. Hold the passive angle. Let them all towards the side, then strike from above.
That was a little rough right there. This first round might be the early rumblings of problematic instances for both of these respective teams. Resets and Palu, the only two that remain for Liquid, but doesn't mean that it can't be done. We've seen it time and time again, and especially with that DMR in hand. Not only that, but the ARX for resets as well. That AR is disgusting. We'll have to see how it goes. NJR decapitated. The French's very favorite form of getting things done. And Palu take things down here. Another peg as he'll fall. Could be all up to resets and able to at least find one. Nafe with a shotgun should be able to handle it, and he will indeed. Crosshair dedicated to his chest, but it all goes wrong. Kind of crazy that Liquid was able to kind of bring it back to bear there for a split second. Just a little over encumbered as DarkZero, and just a little too much influence from there being thrown the way towards Liquid. They nipped that in the bud, at least in a couple of different stances. And now, for Liquid, first one not going too well, and it's really based off of this play that we saw inside of Train. This right here is the biggest issue. I'm in total agreement with you. The fact that Lagonis didn't honestly just tell Maya, listen, just swing this guy, is the biggest thing inside of that round for Liquid. If they quickly dispatch that entire Train area, this is more than likely looking like a Liquid round.
Disgusting ones in there from Paolo as well. Just Jiggle peeks and one taps the guy inside library, but even though to hit those nice shots that wasn't enough. Cafe is an interesting map because it has so much verticality with self-destruction, but you can also do those kind of limited attacks like we saw last round from Liquid, where they didn't care about top floor at all. They go first floor primary, up the bakery stairs in red, then just walk into Train window and just take Train, and they're hoping to kill Canadian for free, use the multi, plant behind him most likely. But again, if your entire strat revolves around one operator, and that operator dies like pretty early on the round, that's it. So I like this more, you know, utility-oriented attack from Liquid now. You got Capital, and you got the Grim, you got... See, now I gotta do this again. Striker.
There you go.
You got Striker with WT, which is such a good operator for Cafe because again, you can burn and you can destroy. And
we also have...
Oh, we have... So that's why I was messed up. They got both. They got Striker and Sentry are both in the server.
Oh, no way.
Well...
So you know how we said that like this op is so good at getting intel? It's really good when you get to capitalize on it, but when you have to fight Palu and he's kind of expecting things on that end of things, doesn't exactly work out. Now, I will say this is what I love about DarkZero, something that we probably wouldn't see too often before.
Yeah.
Bambazu immediately doubled down and he hopped out the same damn window.
I love that. I mean, if you lose a player early on defense, it can snowball very quickly. So either you full commit to the craziness or you don't do it at all. So I love this double down in this specific instance. Also, Melusi dying, not a huge loss. Those Banshees already pre-placed. That's going to give you intel if an enemy steps into it. And now it's still a 4v4 with both Hembetsu and Resets taking a bunch of damage.
And I love that you point that out because that's one thing that I've told so many people throughout the years, Pengy, is the fact that, you know, if you want to do something crazy, just make sure that everybody wants to do the crazy thing. Let's all be on the same page here. If I jump out this window and die, send it again. You know, screw it. This is the strategy. This is what we're going to adhere to. We're going to have Nafe taking a fight outside of White here. Doesn't have to worry about those soft panels over on the garage end of things, but fortunately enough for him, not another Liquid body occupying those angles. That could have became extremely problematic.
It feels like Liquid don't have the right idea compared to Consulate. Like, I'm not sure what their plan is right now. Okay, just kill Nafe downstairs. It's a simple plan. But in the bigger picture right now, from the very beginning, I don't know what Liquid is trying to achieve. Maybe go Cocktail Repel, use Capital Grim. Then when Grim died, they went to plan B, which is try and isolate those players off DC just like before on Consulate. Because the thing is, DarkZero often have one or two players that don't have any real support. Those guys can do free kills, like Nafe downstairs.
Have Maya taking over this top floor and ripping away the flooring as well to create all of these different angles that DarkZero will not have to worry about. And obviously, this is looking more and more like a mining plant than anything as of right now for Liquid, especially after that pick onto Bambazu. They'll smoke off these angles, and they won't have to worry about this drop angle that we're seeing held by NJR. But fortunately enough for them, he doesn't have those glasses. Canadian's going to take down Nesk with a Nitro Cell, but the angle that they've created works both ways, and Resets able to take down Canadian from Red Hall. Make it 2 for him as he'll take down NJR, and it's 1-1. I have a feeling that we are already headed towards a teeter-totter here, meaning overtime.
We very well may be. And it's weird to watch the rounds both on Consulate and now also on Cafe because it feels like it's anyone's game all the time. Liquid, they don't look as comfortable yet, I would say, as to Consulate, which, to be fair, they've played... This is their 4th map so far this tournament. 3 of the 4 maps, they've been Consulate. That's like, they are kings on this map right now as of this moment, but that early beginning, Bowler jumps out, he dies, Pamper jumps out, he trades in, but then Nafe downstairs right here, he gets caught off guard, stuck in a poor position, and then this as well. Panda flanked at the most bizarre moment, just when they breached open the hatch with no follow-up. Surely if you wait 20 seconds or so, maybe 15 seconds, Canadian can C4, as Pambisu flanks, and you create more chaos together, and you set Pambisu up for a better success rate on that flank.
And Liquid, they want to make sure that are at least capable of 2 rounds on this offense. Honestly, really thinking 3 here for them. I'm really feeling the split half already. We'll see if our early prediction here, maybe a little bit too early, ends up going at least my way. But you guys heard Pango himself. He reinforced it. That's on him. So actually,
I could see a 3-3 just like before. I think it makes sense, and I think both teams are comfortable on this map of Cafe. Sure, DarkZero picked it, but Liquid is not a bad team at Cafe. Brazil as a region typically likes to play this map. So wouldn't be surprised to see both the defense and attack have success on both teams.
Just gotta start stretching things more and more until you stop me. I gotta be like, you know, I'm really feeling a 5-1 here for Liquid, you know?
Maybe if they're gone 2-0 up, start things off, but no. That's not the case at all.
I don't feel that way either, but I will if it bugs you. So, gonna have that Solus on the top floor, though. This will be helpful for the drone game of Liquid, but they've already created so much space. DarkZero's not playing inside of coach check.
They're going
the angle, and this has allowed Liquid to work in from lobby. Resets Dust Snave. Pambisu takes down Deimos. And now, well, it's a ball game. Let's see how it goes. DarkZero, can you knock it out of the park? It's kind of a fastball, but you've got some straight shooters of your own. That Nitro Cell will deal half of Lagonis' health as he stands inside of Rice, ready to plant at a moment's notice. We do have Canadian that's still occupying the red area and can potentially get some angles upstairs to try and stop this onslaught if he can try and utilize the Specchio scanner. But Lagonis is going to start planning. That means Liquid's got all the angles necessary to try and hold down these rotations. It's a successful plant, and now that Solus, not really worth the wait that she was before. Pambisu will take down Palu, though Maya desperately trying to win this out against Big Bad Canadian. But Canadian's smart enough to realize he's got 2 young gunners right around the area. He'll let them handle it instead. It's down to the Monty, and, well, it's going to be Pambisu for the ace. Yep.
Sometimes all you need is one wonder kid. And that kid is Pambisu so often for this team. And I'm looking at this from a top-down perspective. I'm on the monitor. And I was thinking, this round is so easy for Team Liquid. All they had to do was break the castle barricade where they planted. And you can actually see the fuse from outside the building from a safe location. Instead, they're fighting from inside, next to castle barricades, next to rotations. And the issue is, there's a very big domino piece there for Team Liquid. That a player inside our wedding, so bottom of red staircase, the second he dies, everything else falls apart. He's the middle link that supports all the other pieces. So you saw every single attack map of Liquid fall apart without any support, whereas Pambisu and SDC, they're running at him, all 5 together.
Yeah, and just insane that Pambisu across this entire board. Look at the way that he processes all of this. I love that we got the replay from his perspective because you can see just the ways that he had to work this entire thing. And NJR is trying to deal with Monty in front of him as well, and not only is he able to assist with that, but obviously he turns and burns that player inside of Freezer too. And I think you put it best, Wonder Kid when it comes to Pambisu.
That was the way, like, when Nomad died, Paolo, the second kill in that round, they don't fall apart. But it's like, Liquid, they found a gap, but what was the post-plant decision there? How did they think in their mind that they were going to hold on to that diffuser post-plant? Monty's going to 1v4 on bomb side? I don't think so. So they just relied on winning individual gunfights, which is not enough in this game, especially in Cafe with the verticality. When outside the building, you can do so much more. But DC, they're fighting back, and I think this is when they're at their very best. When they're actually choosing to play the new style of Siege, where you're playing coordinated aggression, because it wasn't just Pambisu popping off, it was him hitting the shots, but everybody around him was trying to help him as well, finding out those player locations.
Yeah, that perfect example just to showcase that is Canadian on Brown Stairs. He finds the angle for Whiskey, and he's like, I don't have to take this fight.
Exactly.
I was waiting for Pambisu to shoot him. Yep, exactly. Hey, he's right there. Go get him.
Yeah. That's my IGL right there.
Oh, man, exactly, dude. That's what you want out of your players, man. You should not be trying to handle these situations by yourself. That is a thing that will make any of your friends the most mad. You do not want something like that. So that's what we see here from DarkZero, and what else would you expect out of Canadian and DZ at the end of the day? It's going to be team play oriented. They've just found that new special sauce. Now, I don't know what that is. Hopefully it's got garlic in it. That's my go-to.
That is my forte as well.
If it says aioli in the name, I could probably drink it. Like, Oh my God. Resets isn't going to drink it. He's going to eat the Nitro Cell, and Maya's going to trade back. This is what I'm talking about with these two teams, man. One person dies, and another one is activated to immediately trade things back and complicate these rounds for both respective squads, getting down farther inside of the gunplay. But the good news for DarkZero is that these mirror windows more than likely already applied. We see one here inside a bathroom, but Nomad, she's down for the count.
Question is, though, this gunfight right here between Pambasu and Nesk, who's going to win it out? Well, Nesk sees the mirror window.
He's going for it.
He's always swinging.
Oh!
What? All right, see, no, you give Pambasu that previous round fire up, he's just going to keep going.
That is absolutely insane. Disgusting stuff, and not only did he kill 2 Liquid players, he killed probably one of the best duos in the entire world, and he did it with a smile on his face. Didn't even give it a second thought. He was like, come here, old man. I'll show you what's new about this game. Guns them both down. Maya has to try and do something, but the castle barricade, it's too tough. We're going to see the run around, but Pambasu for a triple kill. He's on an absolute tear right now on Cafe, and be damned what I said earlier. It's not going to be a 3-3, man. I don't think that Liquid is going to be able to slow this up. We might see another round here. I could feel a 4-2 split at a bare minimum.
They gotta shut down Pambasu. Right now, that's like your main focus, because he can take this game and just run away with it. When he gets like a 1v5 ace, more or less, like on that kitchen and kitchen defense, that's when he's gonna have so much confidence and just ego on his side, saying, I am a better player. And that's what these swings do. Because technically, Pambasu made a silly play twice, but got kills because of it. And that's just overconfidence. If he doesn't get shut down, they're going to take all the rounds they can.
Yeah, the second one was just him trying to recuperate off that angle, because it probably wasn't communicated.
He could play behind the mirror window.
Right?
He's chilling.
Exactly.
But
so he didn't have to rotate. But I'll definitely tell you this. The cigar swing, that's pure ego right there. He's
exactly.
like, I know I can, and I will. And, hey, sometimes, and you've said this before, sometimes when somebody's on, like feeling themselves like that, you don't get in their way. You just let them go for it, and sometimes some magic happens.
So also, I'm not surprised to see him play Dark again, because right now, if I'm in player on DarkZero, I'm expecting someone to say, Pambasu, what gun do you want to play? What operator? Because you will have it. I'll play Castle, I'll play whatever, because right now, our entire win condition, which is working, by the way, is you just having a great old time.
Yeah, I'll fight with a stick. I really don't care.
I'll watch cams for you. I'll play Echo, just be your drone person. Like, I don't care. And this is something that we, like, players have been applying for a very long time. Back in my days with Fabian, Fabian has a great game on Bank. He says, yo, can somebody play Thermite? I want to play Jackal and just, you know, take out some people here on the roam. You give it to him.
Yeah.
So right now, DC, full trust in Pambasu, enabling him, allowing him to do his thing, and Liquid is up to them to shut him down. The downside here is, because it's Cafe, the Blitz and the Multi are not as strong as on other maps. So you can't just default back to shield operators and get in Pambasu's face. You gotta actually win a gunfight against him, and that might be problematic.
Yeah, it's starting to look like KD at the Olympics. Just shooting 3 for 3 for 3, going 8 for 8. One of the craziest stat lines in the Olympics ever, by the way, for those of you that care about ball. But yeah, he's looking just like him, just in Siege terms right now. I believe he's got 9 kills in 4 rounds, because we've just started this one, and not a single body's fallen. Pambasu, right around the corner right here, and be playing over towards the pixel space, and you can see Liquid's getting a little antsy about some potential from DarkZero on some of these more high-flying antics that we could see. And speaking of, you never know. Nafe is a little bit more reserved when it comes to this team. The alternative shot caller, past Canadian, helping him out with a lot of these moments, especially later on into the round. And as Canadian has said it himself, made his life a heck of a lot easier. Makes it to where Canadian can focus a little bit more on his play as well. And that's the hardest thing about IGLing in this game. You're technically playing the game as a whole for the whole team. When somebody else can try and help you out with things, that's a really big deal. Nesk will start us off. Nathan and NJR down. Bo 2 is resets and Nesk getting a lot done here. It's going to be down to the Pamba show, though. Pamba party time. That's what we've got as he's spinning around on a dime.
Oh, no.
Has another one. Somebody step up to the plate, baby. Another nade in, and he almost gets it. It goes through the hat of that player, and Canadian brings it down to a 1 versus 1, man. It's up to Nesk. 28 HP remaining, and Canadian gets it up against Nesk on low HP. Nesk doesn't have the greatest opportunity, but it's still Nadian being able to close the door on him.
It's Nadian to finish it off, but who starts that? Pambasu in one corner inside a freezer, gets multiple kills and stalls out for as long as possible, either down to the grenade or the gunfight, but he went down swinging.
I had to take some photos with you real quick, man. You're just so good looking, you know, especially with that bald and beautiful head of yours. I mean, come on, man. Hey, throw up the hearts real quick. Throw up the little hearts. Let's do that. Ah. Absolutely. Hey, guys, sorry, guys, we had a photo op real quick. You know, it tends to happen. We never talk about them, but this time I was like, nah, dude, we're going to throw up some stuff. But beautiful round so far. Team Liquid's going to take a timeout, so honestly, thank you for that. They did that for us, actually. That's what just happened there. But no, on a serious note, everything is falling off the wagon right now for them. It is not going very well. They tried to get more aggressive on this top floor, Nick, and what do we see?
We see disaster. I mean, it started off really well. Liquid, they can execute, no doubt about it. It was beautiful flashbang, rappelling through windows, and lock down those crossfires. But then it came down to just outright a brawl. And that's where right now DC, they are winning. Canadian beating Nest 1v1. Sure, Nest was in a great spot, but still, you expect Nest to be the winner of that gunfight, not Canadian. But right now, he's the big bad.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the one thing, right? You get Strat Nadian or you get Big Bad Nadian. Yep. And the alternative is a little scary. That's the thing. This guy has never been the dude where you're like, oh, Canadian's mechanics is what wins him games. But when he starts feeling himself, I mean, sometimes he looks indomitable. It's truly something to witness. So maybe, fingers crossed, we get that here at EWC.
Oh, he's here. You look at that.
That's a hockey player right
Those
there.
fist bumps as well, they hurt, by the way, when it's Canadian. I can only imagine. I saw that power behind that fist going, yes, Nave, yes, Panther, I win that round for myself. Actually, Panther, thank you for the help. Like, that's all me, you know? 11-3 in Panther, by the way. 5-2 in Canadian. Canadian on Consulate was like, what, 3-11, 3-9, something like that. It's like, he played shields, he tried to plant, he died a lot. Right now, he's taking gunfights, and I think it's great because on Cafe, especially on defense, you don't have a lot of choices right now. And I think sometimes Canadian, he loves to roam and get around the map, but it's so often we see him just kind of die. And sure, he stalls some time, he kills a couple of drones, maybe his teammates trades him, but right now in Cafe, you play in your corner, you make things work. And right now, that is just going really well for somebody like Canadian, where he's not going to get stuck somewhere in the map without any help. He always has somebody next to him, just like we always have a Doc on Team of Defense right now, because once again, the third time in a row, it's Panda on Doc duty.
Yeah, no promotion. He just is Doc. He just is. He is indeed Doc, and he's still going to be in the exact same space. Honestly, you probably didn't even need the cam, Lagonis. We probably could have all assumed he's going to be over towards Christmas trying to handle business. That's exactly where he's going to line up. Ash round out, and that's going to be able to at least handle one of these black mirrors that we have been set up by Mira. Pambazoo's just going to switch to the alternative. I really like this setup from DarkZero because Christmas is one of the biggest issues in all of Cafe. This is the starting point for a lot of offenses, and that's why you see Liquid trying to deal with this so much, and also why you and I talked about utility clear earlier, because you're trying to deal with everything on these windows, try and get your team in successfully around the red hatch. It's just all really problematic at the end of the day.
Finally about the Monty, I feel like I would have liked to see this like 1 or 2 rounds ago just to try it out again, because again, you can shut down Pembasu maybe with that operator. But now it comes. Paolo finds Panda, so a great start for Liquid right now. That's almost like 80% of DC's firepower gone from the lobby.
Yeah. That's a scary thing to say when you have players like Bolo as well as NJR in the lobby. I mean,
we've not seen them yet. They weren't needed until this moment, but now they gotta stand up to this final challenge on this final round of defense.
100%, and it comes down to this last minute right here. The shield out for Lagonis, Liquid going to some of their older antics too, and this is the one thing that Liquid has always been very solid about. When they get this initial pick and it goes fully into their favor, they're gonna pump the brakes a little bit, they're gonna slow things down, and they're going to try and make it to where they can fully utilize that, not trying to have any oversights, just making sure that they can punish their opponent to the fullest effect, the fullest extent of the law. With 38 seconds remaining, this is where things are going to start flying. The Firestorm will catch some wind here, a little fuel for the flames. Now the Monty's dropped into train. They can't plant inside of this room. It's going to be mining or it's going to be dining. More than likely going to be the former here as they start to move across, but it's going to be Bo to take down resets. And Canadian playing inside of Dark. He might have this player here up on New Balk. Going to be able to turn on the glasses for a moment here just in case something crazy happens. Some flashes could pour in or something like that, and that's what he's worried about. These players now have to worry about this plant, but it's already been handled. Very well done from Liquid. They're quick to the trigger pull as the space has been given up from DarkZero, and it is indeed going to be a 4-2 half as Lagonis bodies Bolo with the shield, and Liquid are able to keep themselves alive at least a little bit.
That's a penguin.
That's a Pengu?
That's a Pengu!
Oh.
I like it. Honestly, I think for DC there, they might have over-communicated the issue because Canadian was playing inside of, we call it Ninja. It's like that small pillar position.
I've always called it Dark. That's what I've always called it.
Yeah, it's like a hiding position, right? That's why we call it Ninja, you call it Dark. But basically, when he started getting shot at, you can see the comments being like, I need help, they're gonna execute on mining, etc. But that's not what Liquid did. They walked halfway across the map, went to dining instead, just started planting. That's what the ones you can do. Just walk on in, get down that presence on the bomb site. And while Canadian in a great position, for a moment there, it didn't have any effect on the execute because Liquid simply walked the other way.
Bomb located by attackers.
That's the biggest thing. DarkZero, a lot of those times that we saw earlier when people were going down, even if it was Pambazu, somebody was there immediately to be able to solve the puzzle. That's the key difference inside of round 6. DarkZero did not have an answer to the onslaught that was going on from Liquid on that top floor. They got so much control in that scenario. They rip up all of the flooring. They don't get punished by any of the nitro cells. And then not only that, they handle all of the cross sections that DarkZero set up. That position over in Ninja, some of the other angles that we saw over inside of Dining, all done, all dusted by Team Liquid.
One dangerous thing about having somebody stand out on the scoreboard like Pambazu right now and 11 kills is that when he dies, you lose so much value. Look at Liquid. 5 kills, 4 kills, 5 kills, 5 kills, then let go into some support duty and attack on 1 kill. Every single player has more or less equal value. Surely you shoot the default cam in a quarterfinal game. Surely somebody turns around. So when you watch this game back, who do you blame here? Because you're right, 3 people spawned. He even spawned it right, he didn't see it.
If I'm Mint, I'm blaming everyone. That's what's happening. You guys are, listen, I'm going to load up the biggest map. You guys are running circles for 2 hours. And then I'm going to berate you about why you suck. That's going to be our fun for the afternoon.
Pemba might see it actually with the IQ scanner. He might be like, guys, there's a camera on spawn. Did we? Oh, it's a Valkyrie. Okay, I was going to say, he missed the second one. Oh boy, I mean, to be fair, the back alley default camera, not a huge issue, but right now, Cavital Bolo is repelling there, so if he didn't shoot it yet, that's going to give them, and they have it, I can see it. Right now, Maya's watching the cam. So if Bolo dies, we know why, because they have live intel on Bolo repelling on the south side. Usually, not a huge issue. Also, worth noting, DC, they're in Garrett, so Bolo is covered. So, 1 minute and 20 seconds off the clock right now. DarkZero, very slow and steady approach, but you kind of have to do that here on this map. You can't go too fast.
Oh, NJ is going to get the pick. That was out on White Top. You have the more snow-covered one over on the eastern side of Cafe, and then Blacktop on the west side. And that frag, or that moment, happened there because NJR was influenced from the camera. They saw him rappel up the side. You thought it was Garage. It was actually rappel up to that White Top area instead. And he stepped out of Hell Door to try and take that fight. Ends up losing it. But again, that's a moment there that could have completely been thwarted just simply by having that default cam destroyed. Fortunately enough, it goes the way of DarkZero there as they're able to take that fight successfully. But now Liquid have to try and deal with what's been presented to them. A minute remaining, 3 versus 4, and DarkZero's got a lot of control on this top floor.
Like Demonti though, wide hallway, no C4 below, very safe area for Canadian. Inaguma right now though taking a fair bit of damage. A fire goes out from Capital, but there's just a fight going on everywhere on the map. Power runs out the door, takes down Bolo, now a 3v2 favoring Liquid.
And now a huge issue as well because we're down to just Canadian here with the shield and he's got to do something big. He'll get him and he's got to pop one. Turns, burns. No, he won't be able to get the melee down. You really thought that could have been the moment there for Canadian to have a huge play, a huge moment in that pseudo 1 versus 2. But Palu now has to try and deal with Pambazu. It's the P's here for the party. So we'll have to see which one's pushing Pete. We're pushing the plant as of right now. He tries to get him off, but Pambazu's going to stick it. And is he ready for this fight? Oh my God. That was absolutely disgusting. You can see from Troy's reaction how gross that was. If you didn't trust me, trust that man. That was ridiculous. And the fact of the matter is, you wanna know why he knew that? I know you know. It's because of that little sprint right there. He heard those 1 or 2 or 3 steps and heard him back off. And he's like, as soon as I stand up, I'm pre-firing for the Stacks hallway. And he catches him.
I hate to be critical because everything's a 50-50, right? If you don't sprint, or if you sprint and he gets off the diffuser, it's great. But if you don't sprint and he sticks it, it's also, whatever. But I feel like, of course, Pambazu's gonna stick the plant. There's not a lot of time left. There's Valcams available as well that have some sort of intel for the defenders. I think you just sprint across or you take the gunfight. Trying to fake them out, stop them from planting down the diffuser when he's already deep into the animation, rarely worth it. So he sticks it, he knows that Valkyrie's stuck now. 50-50 for Paolo, but not a fan of how he played that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm in total agreement with you because it goes back to the other thing, right? Especially in these scenarios, you're kind of forced to stick it. And not only that, but it's kind of like a test of grit, right? A lot of people get antsy in that scenario, and that will definitely throw them off. And you could do that to a lot of people. It's not going to happen to Pambazu, man. Especially with DarkZero, because Canadian just be like, yeah, you played it out right. He just happened to step up and kill you. It happens, whatever, you know. We still got a good little buffer here on rounds. But instead, they pick up the very first round of offense, and that's with some, you know, shield play that kind of went awry initially until Canadian started making some magic happen over inside a cocktail. But yeah, you know, I think that they might end up going back to that well eventually here. But as of now, Canadian is on Sledge, an operator that we seldom see anymore.
I like this though because Liquid are opting for Echo, which sure gives you information in general, but also it's a great counter for Monty because when you use the yokai stuns on the drones, you're gonna knock back that shield a bit to expose the Monty player. But the issue is, DarkZero been playing IQ first round and here in second round as well. So the more intel that Liquid will bring out, Echo plus the Valkyrie, all of a sudden Pambazu's War of the IQ gets stronger and stronger. So bit of an awkward spot now for Liquid, and of course attackers can repick their operators in the drone phase, defenders cannot change it. So Liquid have to assume what's gonna happen and try and counter it ahead of time. And then DarkZero, they will drone the drone phase and then, you know, figure out what is our approach gonna be. But to no surprise, a slow start again for DarkZero on the attack. Cafe is all about getting set up outside the building, getting those repels, setting up the flank drones, and when you're ready, drop down the heads, for example, like Pambazu has right now, and figure out where you can create a gap, create space, or maybe where a weak spot could be on this defensive side.
Echo with an ACOG, being a 3 armor.
Oh yeah.
Some things are just right in the world again, you know?
Yeah, that's a great nade.
Ooh, that was an insane nade, honestly. Able to take down Maya over on the Black Mirror position that we see in Cocktail. And this is a really, really big deal when it comes to this bomb site. You really want to be able to take control of this entire top floor and start dealing with the verticality. Usually what we see for plant potential when it comes to this site, Nick, is it's going to be on that raiding door. They want to try and work in, handle that verticality, and make it to where they can just successfully plant right on that door. There's a lot of different angles that you can try and utilize. It just makes life a lot easier. Nave trying to help with this top floor clear now. Nesk is fired back. He's taking down Pambazu. NJR is also taking damage too, but Nave, he also has the case. This is probably the most important man in the field right now, and he's got Bo to try and work around with him. Oh, what a find from Nesk. The double kill for him. What's the answer here for Bo as he's on the skylight?
The issue is you got Valcams and Yoga Drones giving so much intel. Pamba's dead on IQ, so they have too much info to work with. Nesk finds the kills, 3 in the round, and Paolo finds the final. NGR goes down. DC, all of a sudden, things kind of fell apart.
Yeah, they did not even get close to an answer on how to handle this bomb site at all. It was all Liquid all day. Now, what the strategy was, right, is they really wanted to handle that top floor. As you and I know, most important portion of that bomb site, you have got to get it. The amount of times that we've seen people just allow one person to exist upstairs and they kill practically everybody important to your take. It's too damn high, man. It's too high. So that is going to be another round there for Liquid, but DarkZero have done their due diligence already. They have a good little safety net built up in their round count, so this isn't going to be something that is a breach in the hole just yet.
One thing that I love about good teams on Cafe is that they tend to avoid playing the kitchen and kitchen bomb site, where a lot of teams want to trap that they play like, you know, they play reading, they play top floor, then they go downstairs to kitchen. It's like, kitchen just strategically and fundamentally you have one way to play it. You can't really roam, so attackers, they roam clear, verticality, they drop down the dining hatch, they plant, boom. Very few things can change there. But the good Cafe teams, the best ones in my opinion, they play a majority of library and mining, like we see from both Liquid and DarkZero so far. And the reason why this bomb site is so good is so you can play around the entire map. Top floor verticality, downstairs verticality, the primary floor itself. You have so much space to work with, and you can use the clock as a piece of utility. Because for attackers, they gotta clear the top floor first, then walk downstairs. You see from them from kitchen, they gotta go downstairs to the, you know, quote-unquote basement floor, if you will. All of a sudden, there's no time left. Whereas when you play that kitchen bomb side, well, it's just top down. It's very, very simple, like a ladder. There's one direction, that's it. So I love this from Liquid. I love the prep work here. Of course, the mirror being brought up makes a lot of sense. You can extend, hold top floor as well, make it a little bit easier, because when you are holding top floor and it's not the bomb side, you can't commit 100% to that piano in that portion of the map, but you gotta commit something. The mirror windows, the Valcams are great additions to this setup.
Remember that bulletproof there from Nesca as well, putting it on the floor, and that was something that we didn't really see initially when the bulletproofs came out. A lot of people put them on walls and stuff like that, but I think over time people learned that the camera has a lot more angle to it, and you can see a lot of stuff still, even with that placement. I do believe you can only deal with it on the sides, so you have to still approach it in order to really get anything out of it, and we'll have to see how DZ tries and do exactly that. So, gonna have some angles here from DZ, but you can see Nesk very prepared for anybody to stick their face in a place that it does not belong. IQ gonna take a lot of damage as Pambazu is hurting.
And again, IQ is so vital here because of those Valkyrie cameras. They're a big problem last round. You gotta find them, shut them down, and then IQ can die in this round if you need. The issue is some of those Valcams, you know where they are, but you can't quite get the mark on them. Nesk advanced to the side of Piano, playing as a pixel spot. He's advancing aggressively, now just falling back with those flashbangs.
All the stuns out, all the damage too, and explosions to boot. Some fireworks out of Palu, and it's not even 4th of July. Resets and Nesk are going to try and take this round right away from DarkZero, and I think that that's the answer right there. We found the solution. It's a flawless round for Team Liquid. And honestly, kind of expect a timeout here from DZ.
This could be the one. I mean, things are kind of falling apart because DC Pamazu, he saw the Valcam that was inside the copy below Skylight, and then who dies to C4 right after Canadian, who did not know the Valkyrie cam was still there. So, counter intel not happening for DC, but also they're not able to get a foothold in the map. I could see a Monty come out at this point, something else, because right now their issue is not to execute, the issue is getting inside the building. It's a really poor situation. You get stuck on the first step.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't worry too much about the lineup right now, guys. For DarkZero, Canadian did not even select his operator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
auto pick.
don't even look at it. So they're more than likely going to use attacker repick to try and synchronize exactly how they want to deal with this. Get some info on the map first and see what way they want to handle this. And again, we touched on this in the first map, but this is the beauty of having somebody like Canadian. You know, I touched on the timeout potentially being used there, but Mint more than likely liking how the conversation was going. It was like, I don't need to do anything about this. They're already making adjustments or seeing what I'm seeing. It would just be a waste to expend it now.
10 seconds left before insertion.
No Monty. Oh, sorry, I am right.
I told you, man, it was going to be a full line shift, and it is. It's a full line shift.
They're just every single operator. So I like this approach, and it's also like, this is like the one time I think Liquid will play the kitchen bomb site, and it's exactly where Monty shines so well, because you can go with direct attack, go for the roam clear, it doesn't matter. Monty is great for both scenarios, but given the fact there's a Bog, a Nomad, and a Ram, this is most likely top floor, down to first floor, destroy the soft floor, and hit the bomb site later on. All DC they need to succeed, technically speaking, is to have 4 or 5 attackers alive when there's about 45 seconds left in the round. They should be able to cover all the angles on the bomb site and try and get down that diffuser. But if Liquid aggress at the right moments here, they might find a pick a little bit early on to shut down DC's beginnings.
Yeah, and Canadian's life is going to be really boring for the initial portion of this. He should just be droning for the majority of this to try and help them with this clear, but looks like his job might already be done. As you can see, he currently has his shield back in his hand, so I think he might be operating around that bakery area. We're going to have Pambazu get some control on red stairs here, open up an angle there for the rotation that's been made to play things from Kochak. This is one of the nastier angles that we've seen developed over the years on this basement bomb site, and also some other things. I guarantee you a couple of people are like, why is there a reinforcement all the way upstairs? There's a very important angle that you can gather on this little wooden floor inside of the red hallway if you have that panel soft. That's why we're going to see DZ break that up.
Get those long lines aside. Again, for DC right now, their entire goes to deny all the playable positions on the bomb side with verticality. Air jumps Nomad, locks down the flank, so you can have all 5 players actively working towards the same objective. And the thing is, 1 minute 25 seconds left, and DC have done all they need to do. They are ahead of the curve. Typically, I would say that you're ready to go at maybe 30, 45 seconds. They are ready basically right now, 1 minute 15.
Yeah,
so they have so much time to work with.
And just a shout out to whoever decided on the design of RAM, because you have saved so many people's lives on soft destruction.
That'll be Justin.
Hey, there you go. W Justin, my friend. Good job on that one, because this is something that was so very necessary for this game. Soft destruction, especially on this. I mean, this is a perfect example of sometimes how much you have to go through. That's why this bomb site in particular, back in the day, if you didn't have Buck and you didn't have Sledge, you're like, oh man, this is terrible. And a lot of secondary shotguns didn't exist at the time, so those longer angles where you had to break the walls down low to like look over at coffee and stuff like that, you couldn't even get them if you just had Sledge. It was a very rough time. So now, with that being said, Canadian is going to beat the crap out of Nesk inside a freezer, and he's coughing on the smoke.
No.
This gas is getting to him. He'll hop inside of sink. Bo takes out one. Is this where the plant's going to go down? It will be, right here inside of the sink, and this might hear it. Does he know that he needs to try and make this move? He does. Hops up on the sink, but that's going to be all she wrote for round 10, as he is the lone soldier for Liquid, and DarkZero will finally find their penultimate point.
And that entire round is why I said earlier that Kitchen does not have a good strategical way to play it on defense, because it all comes out the same. Top floor, down, break floor, drop the hatch, plant diffuser. It happened again for the 20th billionth time, and it's why I want to see the team utilize top floor, mining, and library instead. Now I get Liquid, they did a full site rotation. Cocktail, library, mining, then they went Kitchen. You gotta try it once. Sure, in that top floor cocktail bomb side, it's quite difficult to defend as well, because attackers can play it mostly from the outside repels. With Capital, with Grim, that's hard to work with. But I mean, look at this. You just keep being bullied. Then you swing VIP with a weak gun, you lose that gunfight as well. No real winning chance here for Team Liquid on defense. And the Echo doesn't do a damn thing, because DC, they're smart at this. They bring IQ every single round.
Yeah, and with all of that soft destruction upstairs too, just like we were talking about, it's practically impossible to keep your yokais up in any convincing way downstairs, unless you keep them up towards like the bakery breach, right? Because you have that like concrete area with all like the AC stuff going on. So you can kind of hide it in there. You also have that space over in Rice that you can do stuff with. But if you try and, you know, utilize it at all, you get it floating around the floor or whatever, there's so many angles where it'll just pop that thing and it's over. Now you're just a guy with a gun. So I will say this as well. I really like the Canadian did not expose himself when he was meleeing that guy. Didn't just quickly whip out the pistol.
Yeah.
Because he's been punished like 3 or 4 times inside of this game for trying to take those quick gunfights and just pop the down player in the head. Just melee him.
Can't fight back.
Yeah, exactly. It's much better. It just is. It really is. It makes your life a lot less complicated. So good stuff for Canadian there, making that adjustment too.
This yokai keeps being brought out, and you see kind of like a different way to utilize the operator. You can have 10 seconds outside, you can see if they're on the rappel, go for a run out, see the air jab, etc. So it's a nice way to use it right there. Yo, 2 players in the balcony, nice, red ping them. But guys, they will not shoot the default. Wait, let's check. Default? Oh, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, they have an echo. That's how it is.
Oh, yeah.
But you see the confusion, right? Because you're not supposed to be spotted out there. But if you're quick with the space bar, you can go out of a drone hole or a door like we just saw and just spam space. The yokai drone jumps up in the air. You cannot like do much with it, but you can see stuff, drive back inside, yokai drone stays alive. But this is the way that they could set up a run-out they don't if they wanted to. They're doing an air jab now, so probably no run-out will be happening.
Yeah, most definitely. And just another good way of showing how Cafe can be played with such an important operator like that, right? I mean, there's just so many different creative ways that you can try and use something like this. We'll see another one on full display here. Round 11 so far, so good for both respective squads. Honestly, it's been a utility battle, and finally we get the duel. And wouldn't you know, it's actually going to be Canadian with the 5-5-2 this time around. It won't be Pambazu. He's going to take down Palu.
That was so free. Great drone work. Canadian just dropping down saying, I got this one, boys. No support, no trade, anything like that. Palu just not really understanding what's happening in front of him. And that's a shame, because when you play Echo, you expect Intel to be king, but they have no Intel right now for Liquid side. You're finding mostly blind right now.
Oh boy, Canadian takes out Nesk. He does have resets over inside of Christmas, but no, he did it prone completely. That means that they had to take an angle there on glass, and resets is going to get gunned through the wall. That was the easiest gunfight for Pambazu this entire day. A highlighted player through a wall. Tracks and everything else in between, as Maya will get taken down by the bees, and that's going to be it. DarkZero with a dastardly Cafe will force us to Clubhouse.
Yep, and I mean, the big change there was just that they were actually fighting back and saying, guys, the game plan right now, shoot straight, play aggressive, and go together. Because even Canadian was the second top flanker after Pambazu, getting 2 kills in that round, being the injury half the time. I love this version of the team, but they gotta find a consistent way to do it time and time again, because on Consulate, when it started getting too close, they would go back to their old ways of playing the game, more fundamental, more slow paced, and that's when DC started losing rounds against Liquid.
Well, this is where it gets exciting, because we got Clubhouse next. We're gonna send you down to the studio to break down the map that we just saw.
Hello, the studio here, and we will indeed break a DZ win against Team Liquid down, because something that you said, Jack, between map 1 and map 2 was, if this was DZ 6 months ago, they would have lost it. They did lose the first map, but they won this time around.
Yeah, I think so. I think we want to see DZ just keep going with what was working for them. There wasn't really, it didn't seem like there was a big change in the approach to the game plan. They kept with the same mindset, the same philosophy they had, enable their better players, and we saw it. Pambazao getting, what, 14, 15 kills, whatever it was in the end. Absolutely unreal. And I think there's quite an art to this as well, where teams will play inside of a structure, and one thing that gets leveled at DZ all of the time, they're a super structured team. When Pambazao was feeling it, look at what he was playing. Loads of Doc, loads of good guns. Just get him in as many gunfights as humanly possible, and he can win you a game. And that's exactly what he did.
He's having the skills to prove it as well. I mean, you can claim those operators and then not do anything with it, but he was getting great plays off for himself. That ace as well to bring them back from, what was it, 2v5, I think? That was a great play from him as well, really making sure that these individual players are stepping up. We're seeing it from Canadian as well. I was slightly worried after the first map because
I think everybody was.
His performance wasn't where we were maybe expecting it to be. Like, we've seen him do very well on that blitz, getting those kills, like we said in the pre-show. This was looking a lot better for him as well. On the side of Liquid, I think they got a few very unfortunate moments in regards to the timing. Going back to that ace that Pambazao got, I don't think there was anything really wrong with the post plan that Liquid were having, but the timing was just really unfortunate. They were missing the gunfights, they were whiffing the gunfights. It wasn't really working out.
Which to me is a little concerning because you're looking at a team like Liquid, and it's a team that we touched upon a couple of times, maybe being a little bit emotional, a little bit momentum heavy, and it felt like they had everything swinging in their favor after the first map.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think, you know, if you look at the difference between post-map 1 to post-map 2, post-map 1 for DZ was like, hey, yeah, sure, we've lost a map, but we've actually played really well. Post-map 2 for Liquid is exactly the same thing. They've played well. There was a couple of, you know, a mismanaged to 5v2, a post-plant that they lost, which could change the dynamic of the game had they have won those rounds. This is the 2v5 here, as you see. But Liquid are much more likely to react emotionally off the back of this loss and take that loss, still thinking about that loss going into a map 3, then DZ were likely to take that emotion of the loss going into the map 2. So I do have a slight worry for Liquid going into a map 3 off the back of that.
It might also be the nature with how they lost the map, because this one was just in regulation, the other one was in overtime. DarkZero was so close to finishing that one out. It was a very, very late round in that previous, or the first map that we saw. Right here, though, on the attack of DarkZero, I don't really think they had poor time management. It was looking a little bit better. On the side of Liquid, I think they had a lot of information. We saw the Echo being used quite a lot to scout for information outside, see where DarkZero is setting themselves up, because we know that that's something they like to do. They like to go for this checklist, really make sure they have all the building bricks to go for their execute. And despite having that early information, Liquid wasn't really able to do anything with it. And oftentimes, I felt like these players were a bit blindsided. They were getting shot from sides where they weren't really expecting it from.
Yeah, you're looking at DZ against on their own map pick, and it's a 7-4. You're looking at Liquid, and it's an 8-7. I think it is a big contrast in terms of how both teams were comfortable on the maps that they each picked themselves. And I think that pushing us to the decider also kind of brings questions to my mind of, okay, realistically, who is the most comfortable team on this map and who is going to bring that momentum into it? Because DZ, they were just able to brush map 1 off, but is Liquid going to be able to do the same?
Yeah, that's the concern. If they, and you know how it is with players and with teams, if you're not putting everything into the current situation, that's where you're going to struggle. If Liquid are still thinking about map 2 going into map 3, it's not a good sign.
No, absolutely not. And that's something that they should be worried about, because we have the third map of the best of 3 coming up, and we have Jackie ready as well to give us a little bit of an update in terms of what she thinks is going to be happening.
W7M dominated, stomping Bleed, and right now I am with Dash. How are you feeling? That series just wrapped up. I'm sure you're feeling fantastic.
I'm very proud of my team. What we could do, we did. And today was a special match against Julio. He won us last time, and today was our time. We did a great match. I'm very proud, and let's go. It's same final now.
A little revenge. I'm hearing that. We love to see it. And your team celebrating. Obviously, vibes are high. Going into this matchup, you guys were smiling and laughing. Can you talk to me a little bit about the mentality you had going into this match and during the match?
I think losing to BDS kind of turned us into a better team inside the tournament. Like how the way we talk with each other, it was better. Everything was better, and we were happy today, and that's kind of important for the game.
Definitely. What are you thinking for the rest of the tournament? Is confidence high?
I'd like to face all the Brazilian teams. I think Brazilian teams today are the better teams of the world, the best teams of the world, and I think it will be difficult. We are ready. We train with them in Brazil, so I think we are ready and we can get this tournament.
We are ready. I love that. Is there anything you want to say to the fans really quickly?
I'm sorry?
Anything you want to say to the fans really quickly?
I didn't understand.
The fans at home, do you want to say anything?
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
My English is not so good.
No, you're doing great.
Thank you, the Brazilian fans. I love you guys. Thank you for cheering for us every time. And Brazil is Brazil. We're gonna represent you, and that's it. Thank you.
Your English is fantastic, and congratulations again. Dash, thank you so much. Enjoy that victory. And we're going to go to break. We'll be back in a little bit.
I think like our region has been really good for a while, but there are many other teams in other regions that start like trying to replicate it, and they develop it like a different play style. Every region has like a few teams that is like really competitive. And Maya joining us was a really big addition because we as a team grow a lot, you know. He is really a a team player, you know. He's always like playing with us. Like he's a good teammate, you know. Like we are like making fun every time. We are like joking. Yeah, like we are having a good time every time, you know. Yes, Nesk, especially in big matches, he likes to scream a lot. It's like when you see someone going crazy like that, everyone's gonna like scream, and yeah, that's make everyone go the same way, you know. When it comes to the pressure, I think it doesn't matter a lot. Like, especially since joined us, we had so many times that we were like a match to go eliminate of the tournament. Doesn't matter like if we are down 0-6, like we can turn anything. At the major we were playing really well, but we were tired. There wasn't like much we can do because as I said, like we had so much more games than the other teams. Like the bill arrived, you know, like we were tired. You can see like sometimes when we were preparing for the match, we couldn't like do a lot of things because we lost our focus like really easy, you know. The qualifier happened some weeks ago and we had a lot of time. Like we could rest for a week, I think, before like starting preparation for the preparation for the cup, for the tournament. And right now, I think we have done what we needed to the tournament, and we are on a great shape, you know. We are rested and we are ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the EWC studios here in the beautiful city of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. My name is Stokes, and I'm joined, as always, for this event with Pengu. Had to steal him away from Intero for a little bit just to be out in the desert. Team Liquid versus DarkZero are on our hands, folks, and we have had a barn burner in between these two, especially considering the first map that Liquid took in not such a convincing way. All 15 rounds required on Consulate. Quickly moving on over to Cafe, though. That was a very quick game there from DarkZero. We're down to Clubhouse, kind of a melding of the two worlds that we just saw. So honestly, I think we're going to see some fireworks.
Well, I was thinking the same thing, like Clubhouse is basically a mold of Cathay and Consulate in so many ways, and it's gonna come down to everything now, because you can play for 5v5 executes, you can play those post plants, you can play for those entries, those early manpower advantages, you can play those cheeky operators like a Clash in defense, Monty in attack, the Capital of the Grim, you can bandit trick the walls. There is so much depth to Clubhouse, and how both these two teams have played so far in this best of 3 series. I am so happy we got to see that third map, because Clubhouse is my personal favorite map to watch and cast. So
really
super stoked about this.
Really. Yeah. I'm Stokes.
I am stoked. You are Stokes. It's hard.
It's close enough.
It's close enough. With my accent, you probably couldn't tell the difference, to be honest. So,
but I will have to agree with you. Clubhouse, one of my favorite maps throughout history to not only watch, but also play on. I mean, it's just a hallmark of Rainbow Six Siege.
No, it's
that in Oregon for me, man. And that's why I was a little sad about Oregon leaving. I know. Everybody gets frustrated. Oregon's boring to watch. Oregon, right? Yeah. Well, you know what? Screw you. I love that map, and I'm here to sin for it. I'm just telling you.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Not here anymore.
Yeah.
But Clubhouse, like, let's say you want to trial a player for your team, right? Your fantasy team. Clubhouse and Oregon it's like the fundamental checkers right there, where you come down to fundamentals, execution, communication, droning, trading, correct operators, counter ability, etc. This is where you will expose players' weaknesses on a fundamental core level like no other map.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. This is something that has stood the test of time, and there's a reason why. Past them finally connecting the upstairs to, you know, respective areas. If you guys have been around long enough, for those that have existed like post year 4, I don't think you ever had to experience Clubhouse in its worst form. Was it like year 3?
It was like year 2 year. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. I'd be interested to actually look that up. But, you know, just knee-jerk, very, very early on into Siege's lifespan, they ended up connecting things on that top area. And it immediately turned Rainbow Six into, or rather, Clubhouse into an amazing map. And funny enough, they ended up naming that room Construction. I always thought that was very comical at the fact that they're like, oh, we need to construct something here. Boom, Construction. And hilariously enough, you know, at least with your math, that's been going for almost 8 years now, and they've never finished the room. How long does it take to construct a room?
Clubhouse rework incoming? Emoji? Any leaks?
Oh man, did I just leak on the TL? Oh no.
That's crazy.
I'll be getting a call here in a moment. Can't answer though.
Nothing too surprising here. I mean, so we started off Consulate with some interesting bans. You know, the Flores, the Mute, a little bit out of the norm, I would say. Then Mute continued on towards Consulate as well. The rest was the same as Asami Dokkaebi. Now we've gone really default here for Clubhouse, rather. Dokkaebi, Ying, Kai, and Asami.
I don't think you saw it.
I did not see
Just because, you know, obviously you were doing your job properly, and I really appreciate you for that. But that camera angle that we just got, they had the reflection of Nesk in the trophy, and they backed it out.
I didn't see that.
It was spicy. It was a good one.
Run it back for me, please.
Oh, dude, yeah. We'll have to see it later, because enough. The broadcast is safe for us. We can go see it on YouTube and stuff like that. So look at that right there. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I like that.
That's an angle and a half. And production even did it for you. So you better give them a thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, absolutely.
We ain't missing out. We're eating good.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome experience so far here at EWC. I've been really enjoying my time. So 5 versus 5 here. Ying as well as Dokkaebi going to be the respective offensive bans. Kaid and Azami for defense, and specifically a big fan of getting rid of Azami on this map. She can be such a huge deal to deal with, especially on that basement site.
Also, the first map that Liquid don't ban Mute, the very first round, Canadian, Mute inside a kitchen, is gonna mute all of it off, open up the hatch and roam inside of the room itself. This is ridiculous. Now there is one quote-unquote simple way to deal with this. You just take, you know, a vertical player upstairs in the office, break the floor, can get stuck in that case. But this is a great start for DC. I like this approach. It's not very common to do this, but it might just work.
He's already gone.
Yeah, but they don't know this. They can't drone it, right? Because the mute jammer is so...
Well, they did drone him, actually.
Oh, was it actually drone inside?
He droned him through the kitchen door.
Okay, then they know. Maybe he missed the jammer. I don't know. But I guess the idea is to stall for more than that, because if you open the hatch for the attackers and you drop in the first 15 seconds, I'm going to say not worth at that point, right?
Yes.
We got to stall for more time or kill more drones. C4 goes out. Malcam gets shut down. Second... Is that a second C4 that went out? Yeah, it was. 2 C4 sprint already. This right now, strategically for DarkZero, is not great. One of their big win conditions, fishing for a kill with those C4s, that's gone. Liquid, full map control in the first minute. They are way ahead of schedule. And as an attacker, what you want is a 5v5 execute. If you get a pick 5v4, great. But there's one thing here. Bolo's upstairs. They could have no idea. If Bolo has the right timing, with the communication for his teammates, he can do some serious damage later on.
I was going to say, I mean, for lack of a better term, this has gone pretty crappy for DarkZero so far.
Yeah.
But that might be the saving grace right there. This, I thought initially it was all resting on the precipice of what Canadian was able to produce inside of Kitchen, right? But no, this might have been a huge distracting factor, all leading up to the fact that Bolo has a potential flank in the works. He just has to be patient about this.
Yeah.
And the key thing is, if he gets warmed up, especially on Clubhouse, this could be a massive problem for Team Liquid. They're going to start to propel themselves forward. Goyo canister will go off and delay. EMP's out as well as these Selmos continue to prosper. Bo has been activated. He's coming down main stairs. Nafe gets a big kill, a drop in here with the deagle of all things for Bo. He finally whips out the gun. I do believe he was more than likely doing that strictly for the movement speed, but that's just a crazy way to try and handle things. Resets gets 2, but there's no way in hell he gets out of this, right? Has some space to be able to reload this AK-12. He knows where at least one is around. He's going to drop that Selma down, not to make a new angle, folks. It's strictly to make some noise so that these players don't exactly know where he's walking. Walks in, finds this little breach angle here. So a little mistaken by that, but that's perfectly okay. It tends to happen. Gonna run around and find the back end angle, and yeah, that's all she wrote. That's really all you need. A great decision there from DarkZero, forcing the hand of Liquid, and the bow play working out. Yeah. That distracting factor, they had even us confused. We're like, there's no way that you're going to dedicate every mute jammer you have, practically a just plethora of utility. You got the Valk cams and nitro cells, everything in between, and not get anything out of it. That's just not Canadian coded at all.
No, I mean, if Bo doesn't get that flank, I think that round might have been done for Liquid. Or at the very least, a bomb does get planted a lot earlier with Manavich for the attack inside, and I don't know if Liquid just poorly droned it. I said, you know what, Canadian's the roamer. When he falls back, it's clear, because sometimes players and teams will make assumptions. You might be thinking, why would they think top 4 if they didn't drone? It's like, you don't have enough times and drones and, you know, brain power sometimes to do every single thing at 100%. You're gonna go, this guy, you shoot the roamer, that's their pattern. If he's not roaming, they're all on site. Yep. Easy peasy. And that's why we have those mini moments in games where, okay, Bolo is for some reason hiding in bathroom upstairs. That's not supposed to happen. And sometimes it works out and can single-handedly win you a round. When it's 1st to 7, 1 round is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, this is why prep phase drones are such a big deal, because if you can get things placed properly early on and not be found, and you see even somebody just running up a staircase, you're like, oh, I know Lesion's on the top floor. We know that we have to deal with that. That time around, the biggest thing that affected Liquid was the fact that Bo was completely unchecked. And they did a very bang-up job of making it seem like DarkZero's entire plan was to play around Kitchen. So hats off to DarkZero. Let's see if they can continue their escapades here as they're going to move over to... I got a little antsy right there. We'll see if it still follows through with this player in Garage. But as they were going to look towards Master, you do this player over inside of Garage, Nick, and all 5 people have been discovered on the defense.
Yeah, it means that another bandit is tricking on the walls. Pamu's right inside the CCTV. First step, beats the walls. It can be tricky sometimes because Bandit versus Thermite, typically Bandit will win out in that engagement. You just like Bandit trick the wall, Thermite can't do much, he needs help, Sophia below, grenade, verticality, capital fire, anything right now. But this is just like before on Consulate, they're hunting the good old Canadian.
There's nothing he can do about this.
Oh, they can't get in. Yes, they have grenades on IQ, no breach charge.
Oh man.
Oh no, they botched it.
Wow, I really thought that they'd have that pressure from upstairs, and somehow, some way, Canadian is persisting in literally the worst room to be in this entire map. If you get found out in Oil Pit, you might as well call yourself dead. And that's why Palu is going to approach not with the true gun, but instead with the skeleton key, up close and personal, to take down Canadian. But honestly, for all intents and purposes, Canadian got away with murder on Maya.
Yeah, Pemso died though, so it's a 2-for-1 trade favoring Team Liquid. Not the best case scenario here for DC, but it's okay. Gym bedroom bomb site, I would say, as long as 3 defenders are alive, you can do a 3v5 easily. This is just a 3 versus 4, and Gurm is out for the count. The only real issue now is the Deimos tracker right now. 1 defender's position will always be exposed during this bomb site execute, and that means the LT players gotta work overtime and make up the difference.
Yes, indeed. Trying to get some footing over towards construction. They've done a good job of this so far as they work in from CCTV and cache. They can open the windows here from Master Balcony, so they can try and get access to those windows. A lot of these angles pretty heavy-handed at the end of the day, and make life a lot easier. Something that you have to really worry about on defense. That's why 9 times out of 10 you see a castle here. Obviously won't have it this time around, but DZ, they're up to snuff. They know about this, and they know that they have to try and make sure they have some creative ways to play around these windows, and that's one of them right there, at least for the construction door, as they have a nice little angle over the top of that deployable shield. I do believe that he was actually stood on top of the toilet or something like that over in the corner. Yeah, he's like standing on top of that bench. What a find there from Bo. He's playing the breach in the door on an awkward little angle, and now DarkZero is picking Team Liquid apart.
15 seconds to go.
Nice little find there as well from NJR. was wondering if it was going to slow down just a tad bit, given the circumstances, maybe just talk about things, but nope. It's going to be DarkZero all day as Liquid give up the goods in 2 rounds.
One really big issue right now for Team Liquid is that they didn't take office control. DarkZero had a mirror window inside of gold that oversees the entire bomb set of gym and master bedroom. Whenever you see that, your default go-to plan should be, let's take office, clear the mirror window, then go for a bomb and execute. The other option is, if you have a way to deal with the mirror window, smoke grenades, an ash breaching round, anything like that, of course, you can go for the direct approach from the window side of things, but Liquid didn't have those pieces of utility, so it becomes a bit of a brawl here, and because both found their kill towards the gym window, all of a sudden, they can swing from gym, they can swing from bathroom, and they also have office, so 3 separate crossfires on towards 1 entry point of a single doorway. Liquid are simplifying their process too much in these rounds.
Yeah, and honestly, it almost feels like to me that Canadian might just be the leading factor in what Liquid has going on these offensive sides.
Yeah.
He's distracting them.
He's being focused so much.
He's pulling them away from the primary story of these rounds. Like you said, if they were really, just really focused on that round and that, bomb site, they would have been like, okay, these are the default things that we need to do, especially with this mirror window implemented. Let's try and work things around logistics and see what happens. Yeah. But no, instead, they're chasing ghosts downstairs inside an oil pit. They don't even have soft destruction to get the damn wall open to even try and get those top-down angles. Yeah. As soon as that Deimos went through and he called oil pit, I was like, there's no way that he just doesn't get shot through a grate above him. And no, he doesn't. In fact, he kills IQ.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing ever. That's going to be one of the rounds that when Liquid goes back to it, there's going to be like, what the hell were we doing?
Yeah. I mean, I think you just gotta go back to defaults right now for Team Liquid. This bomb site right here is the most default of default attacks in the entire game. It is CCTV defense. Pop the wall exterior. That's your first thing. Second thing, you gotta make a choice. Either go for a catwalk garage attack right now like we see, with like a Capitao, a Grim, and a Monty, exactly that Team Liquid have brought in this round, or you rotate over to Master Bedroom, Jacuzzi, and take the roam clear. And then you just gotta go with that. So right now, Liquid, they have one choice to make. Once they make it, it all comes down to good execution. You gotta pop Jacuzzi wall, but no one's actually playing there. That's fake pressure. They want DC to think, hey, it's gonna be a roam clear, but in fact, it's gonna be a direct garage attack.
Pamba?
With the bus G.
I'm so happy right now. I really am. This gun is so crazy. And I will say, I was a Boss G hater for a very long time. I just did not really respect it in the sense of like, dude, you have the K1A, you have more bullets, this, that, and the third. But I know we have some snipers in the game. That's the best sniper in the game. Canadian is an absolute just menace to society, and he's super short. He's Palu out of Billiard's window. We still have some fire to be implemented from Maya, just one. But I mean, if Bo just wants to give up the goods, then we can go down that way too. Pambazoo will lose his life to resets. He'd already been down, so the Bailiff, not really the true part of that tale, just the finishing end of things. They're going to try and move themselves forward. Selma out. He'll have to unslot in order to get through this, but the bomb is actually on Nesk. I think Lagonis is actually just going to try and occupy the door to make the cross a little bit easier for him, and life is good. They got that player downstairs as well, and what a play from Lagonis. He's blocking all of these smokes. They know they have to retake downstairs. Canadian has 2 rotation options. How is this going to go?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Resets finds him, and instead of securing that plant, because I think they're a little worried about these smokes, or maybe potentially a smoke getting through that we just did not see. It's been handled. It's been done. It's been dusted. The plant's down. It's a 1 versus 3. They know Nafe is downstairs, and he has to try and reclaim with one of the lowest ammo count guns in the game, up against not only 2 very solid weapons, but also his shield. Maya will take him out, and that's going to be Liquid's very first round.
I feel like actually a very scrappy round from both teams. Though I didn't really like what I saw. First, Liquid used their first Capitao fire. They only have 2, mind you, on the garage stairs leading to lounge. So Pambazoo runs out of garage. They do nothing with that. Then they go into garage. They don't get to use the second fire because Bolo for some reason swings out aggressively and just gives them catwalk control basically. And then Pambazoo dies right after alone. The only good thing that happened was Canadian with that shotgun kill on Putable Window. The rest was a bit of a blunder and odd couple of decisions on both sides, but ultimately with Liquid, attack and CC, they got the right operators and they had the right approach to the round, even if it wasn't pixel perfect.
Yeah, I'm really happy that Liquid didn't pigeonhole themselves in this because they could have just tried to hardcore stick that plant, and I think it would have been ill-advised. They continue to try and roll around down low, knowing knowing that there was going to be some influence from DarkZero, and they did it in a proper creative way. You know what I mean? They're able to get control over that space. They even add more bodies down there when things start going wrong with that push in from, I believe, resets that was taking out Pambazoo. It's just all very well done, and that's the beauty of things like that stock room where you have quick access to the outside. You can just make that decision in 2 seconds, Pengy, drop off a plat, run right in the stock door, and you're like, I'm already here. I transferred floors, and I'm taking a fight in 10 seconds.
You can. Clubhouse does have a lot of avenues to rotate through, like hatches, the exterior as well.
Oh, my favorite, the stock to kitchen hallway.
Oh, yeah. You're always thinking, it's a long way to kitchen from garage, right? None of you go through stock.
Yeah.
It takes 4 seconds and you're there.
Oh, man, you remember Old Timer 2? Oh, my gosh, 5 seconds outside or whatever it was,
that's
the original? Oh, wow. So crazy. They went from 5 to 3 to 1. Which, completely understandable. Even 3 seconds outside, you're like, these runouts are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they also implemented Oryx. So that would have just been, oh man, I can't even, don't make me start salivating, all right? That would have been crazy. So DarkZero, they have to try and figure out for round 4 what they can do. Clubhouse still a defensive-sided map, at least in my memory. I'm gonna look right now just to make sure I was right, and I was. 42% on attack, 57.7.
I don't think it tells the full story. I'm very much to believe that if you are a good attacking team, it's like you can get 5 out of 6 attacks every single time because it all comes down to executions and fundamentals. But the issue is, if you're not good at attacking or you're just insane at defending, that will flip. So I think Clubhouse is a very dynamic map where it can be attacker favorite, it can be defender favorite. I also think operator bans greatly impact this map as well. So I really think it's hard to say, oh, DarkZero should get 4 rounds easy peasy. They might get 4, they might get 2, nobody knows.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Liquid knowing their angle so damn well. Don't know if you guys caught it there. I think we caught it on the third-person camera. Maya knowing that they're sprinting down main, just spamming the floor. Because again, beauty of Rainbow Six Siege, you just need 1. Now, I don't really like that when it comes to through walls. I really wish that they kind of nerfed the damage a little bit when it came to ballistics going through those, so you can get an automatic headshot for free. Because, you know, primary gunfights when you're actually both out in the open totally makes sense. But hey, that's besides the point. Right now, DarkZero has escaped death and made it back downstairs. You said it yourself. This is a site where you're going to want all 5 ops, not only on the offense, but also on the defense.
Yeah. For the defenders, if you have 5 players alive, all 4 can lock down all the entry points. Blue, dirt, main stairs, and the hatches. For the attacking side, it's all about as many guns in one direction as possible. This is going to be Liquid gonna go.
Now, big moment here for Maya. He'll take out 2, make it 3. Resets will add to this fire as well. A triple kill for him. Some missed shots for Bo. He tries to turn on a dime, and Maya with the FBI pistol. Absolutely disgusting. Liquid will tie this up after DarkZero get the initial pick with Nath. That's pretty crazy, actually, especially because you'd think they'd slow down just a tad bit. It was the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Liquid, they are known to, you know, really pay respect to the setup. Say, okay, we're going to drone it, we're going to do the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then we're going to go. They lose their initial opener of the Gurm, and they say, we're going to speed up right now. They are not going to expect this one coming, and they were right, because DC were barely holding any angles.
Yeah, 100%. They were actually all occupying the pseudo dirt to blue angle. Everybody just stepping right in that line of sight, and that's why Maya was capable of popping off. That's what I love about having so many spectators in the lobby as well, is that we get to see everybody's perspective. And for instance, we got to see that from Nate's perspective there, and he didn't actually get to see Maya, right? This is what Siege is all about. It's all about what gets to see what. And he got to see the elbow, just the elbow of that warden, and Maya's like, I'll kill him too, don't even worry about it.
So last time Liquid attacked this bomb site, one big issue. They did not take office control, but of course you gotta get to the site itself before that even matters. Most teams will of course on defense do that the setup across the bomb site rather here on CCTV. And then you're gonna put a mirror window sometimes, I guess. You can bandit trick it, etc. You can impact trick, whatever you want to do really. Just change things up. Liquid, they could go for a side rush, but their lineup, no blitz, no Munty, no Ying, because that's banned out. Doesn't really scream a rush for me. I think they're going to go for a room clear take here.
I like how this is so snappy right now. Immediate identification that construction is available. They're going to take that panel to pop open logistics. This is all things that we didn't see them implement before that I really, at least in my eyes, is a necessity to this top floor. You really want to try and battle for these things. We've even seen some teams in the past want that construction panel so bad that they'll just take a Maverick instead and torch a line. We're going to lose Bo here. I think that was kind of a little creative angle that we saw from the roof with him trying to step up, but very unfortunate circumstances befall him, and now DarkZero will be down for the count. Double impact EMP, Selma for a side, and an exothermic for the other. That'll be Thermite down for his job at least, and now he's just another man with another gun. So you know Lagonis is very happy that he can take gunfights.
I get to get a gunfight now, guys. Let's go! Whee! But he might be first down a hatch and just die to enable Nest. I don't know. That usually happens, right? But it's a lot of util, but you need to get that jacuzzi wall open up. They've gotten that. They've gotten connector. They shattered the mirror window as well. Liquid right now, they have the first 2-step of their 3-step plan done. All in now, drone out the bomber side and choose who's going to entry in positions. Office hatch, gym window, into jacuzzi breach. They could do a 3, 2, 1 countdown and just hit the site if they want to.
Metro cell prepped. Maya, can you escape fate here? Oh, wow. He puts it away. He takes a gunfight instead, and Nesk will find him, and he barrels up main stairs. It's going to be down to Nath once again. We've seen in prior rounds. Not the last one, though. It was the one to start things off, but he'll be the last domino to fall this time around. It's going to be Liquid all day on offense, and wouldn't you know it, as soon as Pengu talks about how solid your offenses can be, if you start getting a roll here, if you start feeling yourself and you can start processing things properly, Team Liquid put together some dastardly rounds.
Yeah, I mean, that entire attack from a top-down perspective made so much sense.
Yeah.
They got the opening kill. That's like the cherry on top to make it so much easier. But they had the right player locations. They did the right hard breach utility. And they cleared the mirror windows. Like, all they had to do, which is very difficult, is win their gunfights, right? Hit a couple of shots here, and they get it done. So connect the window, office hatch, jacuzzi breach, and they had a guy on the master / gym window. That's that player who died right there. So they had everything covered that they needed to, plus meta advantage. The big thing now for DC, the final defensive round for them in this half, I think you have two options. Either disruption, try and do that early game roaming style, try and get a pick, or make something go wrong for Team Liquid. Because if it gets that 5v5, I fear for DC.
Yeah.
The other aspect, you really bunker up with a ton of different utility. Like, for example, here, the Warden, the Mute, the Mirror, and the Goyo. That all screams bombs at util with Bow on the roam. This is much more like the very first round. I believe Canadian, actually, instead of Kitchen as well. So it's going to be a literal repeat of how this game started. And last time, Canadian fell back really early. He was cleared out. But Liquid forgot about droning out Bolo upstairs. They're not going to make that same mistake again. I hope, at least. And if they actually drone him out and take him out as well, this round outcome could be very different for DC.
Well, that's what I'm really scared about here, is because this all rests on the precipice of either Canadian getting to exist for an extended period of time, or Bolo being successful in the flank. But look, we're already jumping out the top floor. They see all of these breaches. They know. I mean, there's dedicated utility up here and all that kind of stuff. In fact, I respect this fully. This is exactly what Bolo needs to do. You shoot that drone, you dip. Because here's the thing. They still have to double check that you're not there later on, or at least have a flank cam. So, you know, if somebody does go down on Liquid, they're watching the camera. That doesn't even matter at the end of the day. So, DarkZero going to try and persist here. I do believe that we've had our big bad. No, he's still there. He's in the corner sitting on top of
he's
the...
still kitchen.
Yeah, sitting right here on top of the cabinets.
It's smart strat. Basically, there's two roamers, and whenever you feel too much pressure, that person will fall back. You see, it's been a minute. They're still waiting for Bolo. The jammers are stopping them. They're holding angles. They gotta say, guys, can we confirm the top four, please? Anybody, any drones? Well, the issue is they've lost 5 drones already. Just now they drone Gym. They gotta figure out Bolo's probably gone. Then they go downstairs. But guess what? Canadian now inside the kitchen with more mute jammers. They have a yellow ping. They got self-destruction. Canadian is a smart guy. He falls back immediately. Doesn't risk the overstay. This is best case scenario for DC. It could only get better if they get a C4 kill here in a moment.
And damn, brother, is this not clean siege?
It's pretty clean.
This is what you want to see. This is the beauty of Rainbow Six right here, folks. We just had so much happen, and nobody even shot at anybody, really. At the end of the day, nobody took any damage. Yeah, it's just so impeccable from them.
What
and
is
I love this from Bo.
He's AFK.
Yeah, he's just been sitting here for a straight minute. I think he wanted to be here in case Liquid wanted to try and press the hallway. We're going to have a swing here now.
No!
I'm at a loss for words that Bo is using the Deagle over the MPX, but he's so accurate at the end of the day. This thing does so much damage. It doesn't really matter. He knows that IQ's here. Oh my god. Oh my days. Oh my God. There's absolutely no way. I thought we were about to see one of the craziest Deagle clips of my life. It wasn't the frag grenade. It was a nitro cell from Bambazoo. And has DarkZero done it? Have they once again drawn Liquid's eyes too wide? I think they have. Liquid at a loss for words right now, but they have to start finding some answers. They'll at least get one for their troubles, but Maya's down to 13 HP. And DarkZero, are you capable of tying this up? One sitting over in the dark corner, the default corner of Armory, but it'll be Pambazoo once again in this series to dust Liquid. And now it's a 3-3 half here. Is DarkZero going to be the more dominant team on offense? What antics are we going to see out of Liquid? But before we get to that, Nick, break down this half for us, man.
Jesus.
What the hell just happened here?
So there's been a couple of small adaptations throughout so far. That first round, as we just witnessed, in a similar style, Bolo did not get turned out top floor, so he goes for flank. Then 5 rounds later, the round that we just saw, they do the same thing. Bolo falls back super early, gives up top floor. Canadian falls back when he has to. Bolo sticks around main stairs, gets 2 deagle kills, dies, C4 trades him. That's the entire round. I've never seen something like this from any team really on Clubhouse, and I truly didn't think that anybody would fall for it either, because it seems so simple. Why don't you drone main staircase? Well, the thing is, Liquid was so busy and so occupied with all the mute jammers, with all that timing, that they didn't have enough drones or time left to drone every single inch of the map. They didn't drone strip club either. They just said, you know what, this is probably clear. Let's just go for it. And it wasn't.
Yeah. And the key thing about that last one as well is that they know, because of the strategy that you've already seen, that Bo's going to be upstairs. But he makes the smartest decision that you can in this position, Pangy. And we talked about it very early on about roamers when Canadian was on Consulate. Guys, it's not about killing people. I promise you. I promise you. It's about wasting time and making it to where the offense thinks that you're somewhere that you're not.
Yeah.
Because do you see what Liquid had to do? They had to go back upstairs and recheck everything. We had somebody sitting in construction on an angle for 20 seconds because they needed a drone to identify where Bo is. That's not a player that you can just willy-nilly walk at. Nesk is going to take down Bo. Pambazoo will respond in kind on Nesk, and we've already got a 4 versus 4 in the first 40 seconds.
So explosive. The good thing is, with Vigil being taken out, that's gonna give your drones more true information, but there's a second problem, just like with DarkZero. Resets playing inside a kitchen with mute jammer assistance as well. So this all comes down to intel and counter intel. If one of those defenders go on drone for a long enough time, that flank late round will be a problem. DC though, they're pretty quick so far, and they got the monster. So 2 minutes, they can do a lot of stuff here. The big question for me is, will they actually commit to Dirt Tunnel and clear it out, or just give up the space for now? They're trying to breach the soft wall. It's a bit of a struggle there. Damon's trying to do his best at Pambazoo. They're going kitchen now. They're going to fight resets.
Pambazoo is going to take down resets as he was playing right in front of that shield. Great read there from Canadian, as well as just some, I mean, impeccable aim to not, you know, splash down Canadian in that situation. When you're dealing with one door frame and dealing with somebody jiggling off of your Monty,
it'd be hard.
There's so many ways that can go wrong. The mixture of Monty and clashes that I've killed over the years by accident, it's just too darn high. Pambazoo is literally recreating the wheel right now with this revolver.
It doesn't work. He needs to go back. Get it right, Panda. Come on, one more time.
How many bullets does this damn thing have, man?
Oh, tons. It keeps going.
And it don't stop coming, and it don't stop coming. Yokai out, a little damage dealt to Canadian, but nothing that they can't deal with. They know that there's multiple players, or rather, yeah, multiple players, at least from the offensive perspective, pushing down this way. Yokai out, and he's going to try and get rid of it. Successful for Canadian, as that nuisance will finally be dealt with. And they've locked him in. That's the angle you don't want to see, and that's why he called for Palu there to handle Nafe, as he was occupying that dastardly resource there to try and handle that dirt rotation. Now Monty will at least be able to back them out. Smokes are going to go out. No Warden on defense here, but more than likely some Yokais still to be had. Have to see. 20 seconds remaining. Some nice shots here from Palu. A double kill for him. Still have a couple of different things to be activated. One of them's going to be NJR, and the case is actually upstairs out of all places. Canadian, oh no, that might have been the worst decision here for Laguna, as he allowed Canadian to have a 1v1 with Maya. He's going to try and run through him. They literally switched positions. He'll take down one. And that is the craziest thing I've seen in this entire tournament so far. That is absolutely disgusting. It's not every day that you see a smoke criminal play in Rainbow Six Siege, but it literally goes both ways. At the exact same time, like ships in the night, they pass right next to each other, and they have no idea. Team Liquid win their very first defensive round with some fireworks to boot.
That smoke was for all intended purposes meant to escort the attacker down the hatch to secure the round, but instead became the sole reason why they actually lost in a 2v1 because Munzi was closing in. And once Munzi gets close enough, that's going to be game over for Liquid in that round. But you see right here, they cross. He actually meleeed in the smoke looking for him as well, but he missed just his shoulder. Huge clutch moment there. And sometimes you don't gotta do all the killing, but just good positioning, good coordination, and that right there is a heartbreaking round because DC, they had it in the bag until they didn't.
Yeah, most definitely. Looks like we might be having a little bit... Oh, I get you now. I think we're in a tech pause, actually. Yeah. We do have things sealed up, so... It wasn't so much of a Bo frustration moment. That is Bo just trying to stay locked in, folks.
Meditating.
That's it right there.
Taking a breather.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the gymnast for the U.S. at the Olympics, but that guy did the I'm gonna mess this up, but it's the horse thing for gymnasts or whatever. And so it took him like 2.5 hours for his event to come up, and he the exact same way. He's just leaned back, sitting there on the bench, just locking in, just eyes closed, just focused on his breathing, and then he went up and won a gold for America. So go us, love that for us, and good on that guy as well. Nice. But yeah, there for Bo, trying to stay locked in. And the same thing can be said about Liquid, just talking things over, hand warmers out to try and make sure they're not too chilly. Yeah, it's a warm country, but I promise you, they might have the best aircon in the world.
Oh yeah, we're getting blasted with the cold air, and I love it, honestly, because otherwise, whew. But that's the thing about technical pauses. No one likes them. Fans, production, the players themselves, everyone wants to keep going, but you gotta make the best that you can that moment. There are some teams that they'll start tilting or arguing or just sit there and go like, oh man, this is so silly, this is so dumb, like, let's just go. Then your teams that they start meditating, they're laughing, they're cracking jokes, and of course, if you're an agile, if you're a brain player, you sit there and you take this moment to think, okay, our next upcoming round, what can we do? What has our opponent been doing so far? Is there anything that I might remember now from like theory or prep work that we have not yet utilized in this series so far? This is the moment we can dig deep and come out the other side with an advantage because of a nobody's fault tech issue.
You want to come out of the blocks flying after a tech pause.
You do.
That's the thing. And it's a very complicated scenario for everybody involved. And it has been for forever because you don't really know when this is going to end either.
Wait,
I don't know.
Wait, is it a toilet break? Did he pull the I gotta go right now and no one can stop me?
Listen, you either let me go to the bathroom or it's the chair. What do you want? Okay, like, and also I don't know if you guys saw the photo online for Bambazoo's chair. This guy is using like 7 of the secret lab pillows for his butt. Yes, no. And he's sitting on them. He is literally sitting on a throne right now of pillows.
He's got the booster seat?
Yeah, dude, he brought the booster seat.
Oh
exactly.
My God.
Exactly that.
I did not.
But hey, I tweeted at him. I was like, yeah, but I bet you're so comfy. Like.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Awesome. We're just checking things up real quick, folks. We are back in the server, but just give us 1 second here, and we'll make sure that everybody's computer's working, everything in between. We just don't want to bait y'all, okay?
No baits.
No baits.
No buts. We're just gonna go when we go. But so far, I mean, I think the big story has been the sides have been very close. First map was a 3-3-half, so tied up. Second one, Cafe, DC came ahead 4-2. Clubhouse also ending on that very close 3-3 scoreline as well. So there's been no one really stealing the show all too much. It's been a back and forth, and I think the big thing is both teams have been trying to set the pace and set the tone. DC goes fast on round, okay, they win the round. Then they could go, you know what, now it's our turn. Then DC goes to slow approach. They could say, okay, we can do that. Let's play Tuberao, Goyu, and Kaid and play that slow style game. Both teams are willing to take it to the other person's primary area of playing the game, and they're both finding success in different ways. I do always have this fear that CCTV bomb side is quote-unquote undefendable against like a Capital or a Munti or something like that, because you just cannot hold catwalk.
Yep.
But the thing is, DC, they've not brought the Capital, they've not brought the Munti, they've brought a Gridlock. And I'm just gonna think here to myself, what are they trying to accomplish that could be different? This could just be a good old, let's go master bedroom, breach the Kusi, or breach the Kusi wall, go master bedroom, and breach the connector wall to the bomb site, and go for a, you know, on a take. This one might be the case.
One of my favorite cams on all of Clubhouse, Pengy, right up on the aircon inside of the garage there. Pretty creative ways that you can get up there. I usually just do it by the shelf that's in the 90 of the catwalk. Hop on that, hop on the window, hop on the pipes. Always a good spot to be. Bo checking things inside of Logi, and they want to make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's before they ever step foot inside of this map. And this is definitely a bomb site that you are most definitely going to want to do that. Pambazoo's over inside of Waits. They're going to track Stinger up every orifice of this entire map. I mean, practically everything locked down now. The only thing standing between DarkZero and the site is themselves whenever they want to try and activate this. Going to try and peek in. Doesn't have the timing there, so he's just going to let it go as the Semo break down the construction single.
Okay, so now it gets tough for Team Liquid rather, because win conditional-wise, they can shut down the plant with a C4, of course. They got 2 of those in pocket, or of course hitting some crazy shots. But DarkZero, whenever they want to, they can start getting down this plant. I think there's a mirror window, true, but you can't walk in towards the bomb site through that rotate. That's covered from a construction door. So you hit some faraway shots, you hit some V4s. Oh, you just swing the breach like that, Recess. I mean, that right there's a hero play that's gonna turn the tide of this round.
Just like Skillet, man, they need a hero right now, and it's gonna be Resets as he takes down 1. And DarkZero, this is where you don't want to see them slow down too much. Obviously, recognition is a very big deal. They want to make sure that they know what they're doing before they go for it, but it's starting to hit crunch time here, and this is why you're seeing these Bs start to come out and things start to activate, but wow, they're just too good, man. Liquid, they've hit the timing, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way, does it? Right now, it's all Liquid all the time. It's down to NJR in a 1 versus 3, but he shouldn't get too far, even though he is probably one of the best players in the world, at least in recent history. NJR trying to step up to the plate. He's going to get gunned down by Palu. And a rough round there for DarkZero.
I think it was just such a good recognition by Liquid to say, we have lost this round strategically. If we don't do anything, we will lose the round. So it's time to be a hero. And yeah, Resets, he makes an individual play. That's never a good thing to see, but it works out sometimes. He finds 2 kills in the round, and all of a sudden, Liquid looked like they're in a stable position. DarkZero are relatively locked out. No Capital, no Monty. They can't just cheese the ban attempt. They gotta win somewhere, but they just simply don't.
Yeah, 100%. And that's really it, is sometimes it truly just comes down to who shoots better and who gets the timing on these frags. And that was all Liquid right there. Catching DarkZero completely off guard. DarkZero was like, all right, Liquid is one of these teams that's really going to respect what's happening to them right now. Well, all except for Resets. He had a chip on his shoulder, he was prepared, and he was willing to take it to DarkZero, and they find success in that. It's going to activate the timeout for DarkZero. We've seen Mint seldom use these today. A lot of trust in the squad, but, I mean, things are starting to get dire. Team Liquid has looked very successful so far on these defenses, and wearing different hats, too.
I also think, looking at Team Liquid's prep work for the last, 6 months or so, I think they're one of the teams that bring a lot of prep. So whenever you call a technical timeout against them, they will always have something to talk about of good relevance. Whereas I think with some support staff, at least, maybe in the past, it's like, these guys don't do a whole lot of technical timeout, we can, get a better, outcome of this. Because whenever we see it, they always have a talking point, they're going at it, and whenever a technical timeout ends, Liquid got a different idea or approach to these rounds, as well as DarkZero. Playing from behind though, 3 to 5, the big question for me now is risk assessment. If Pamba sees an opportunity, a small gap, where there is a 40% chance of success, but you win the entire round, or a 60% chance of failure and your team can almost guaranteed only lose, I'm afraid he might not go for that play anymore. Because right now, you are 1 round away from match point, and then at best you go into overtime. But it's so important for players like Pambazoo that when he sees a small opening, there is no hesitation. He goes in, he believes in his aim, he has the confidence, and get the best result with that. Because if you hesitate at this level of play, it will change the entire outcome of a gunfight.
Split-second decision-making and confidence is what Siege is really based off, man. Minus all of the knowledge that is necessary to play this game, and it's quite a handful. I mean, we've been doing this for 9 years now, almost 10 as we are in the latter half of 2024. Pretty crazy, actually. It feels like it just turned 2024, but hey, that's how things go when you get older, folks, I'm telling you. I thought it wasn't that way either, and then I hit 25, and I was like, oh boy, this is flying by.
It is like that. It's a weird phenomenon.
Yeah, most definitely. Drone's down now. Trying to discover if there's anybody around this mirror. He's going to quickly dispatch that, just making their lives a little bit easier, but I believe they're going to break it open too. And I don't know if they've designed this lineup to handle when the breach pops or when that mirror window opens.
I think that's the mirror window.
We're going to see, because it's going to have to be pixel perfect to get through there and not get soaked up by the electrification. So Gonna be interesting. I don't think they exactly trust it. And, well, it won't get eaten up by the electrification, but it won't get any damage dealt either. So, very well done. And actually, now that I'm remembering, they took that away a little while ago.
You can't get you more, no.
Yeah, you can't break anything.
You got it.
Wow, you kids are so lucky.
Back in my day.
Oh, yeah, all the things I went through. God dang it. All right, well, AK-12 in hand here for Nave as he will be occupying the ace. And they'll finally get the breach open here for Jacuzzi. It just took him quite some time.
I was gonna say, this is my concern for DC is that this happened also on Consulate. When it got to those like more dire moments, overtime, etc., or when your back's against the wall, they tend to go back to the old way of playing the game. They're very slow, they're very methodical, but with that, they also become incredibly predictable. You see Team Liquid right now, they're not worried about a flank or main staircase that armor up the hatch or the bomb site windows. They know there's nothing going on. They have Nesk and CCTV roaming, he's got that secured. You have Maya, Lagonis, Resets, and Palu all holding bomb side and office itself. So they're waiting for DC to make the first move because they'll take this 5v5 and they'll make it a 5v4.
How in the hell is it Glass that dies first? Pamba's going to try and pick this up, and you said it yourself. Even if it's a 40% thing, they got to kind of try and send it, and he does. He'll down Lagonis, and this might be the best opportunity off the back of NJR's antics inside of Waits to try and pick this up. It's all up to him, and he can't get it done! DarkZero lose to Liquid in the desert. Is it? No, I think it's
no. We got one more round to go. We got one more to go. The Liquid players look so excited. I fully get what you're coming from, but it ain't over just yet. No. We got one more to go.
Yeah, you know what? It ain't over till it's over. My bad.
I gotta say though, it looked like the final moment.
You look so shocked. I'm so sorry.
I thought I was like, is that it? I thought there was more to go. No, I thought I saw two heads fly off their faces. I was like, oh, it is over. But no. We got one more in us, okay?
We got one
more. So calm down here. Potential. I felt the hesitation of DarkZero though, like looking from that, what was the train of thought? Glass, smoke the window, jump on in and make the best thing happen? I don't think so. NGR, such a big hero in this round, but didn't really find the, enough kills. He found 3 in the entry, but he had to find all 5 individually. We need people to help each other on the attack inside to make these things come to fruition. Bowler dies and Glass early, Panda jumps in, no one follows up, he flicks left, right, doesn't really know what's going on. It's not good enough for DC. And that's that slight hesitation I feel, and now it's worse. Now it's no longer 3-5, it's 3-6. DC, you can go out swinging, you can go out with a rush, with a strategy where you say, you know what, we believe in ourselves, or you can do the slowest roam clear known to man and lose some time. And it better not be the latter.
Well, hopefully DarkZero know that it's match point now, because clearly I did it. So
they're locked in.
Yeah, they're locked in. I was the one that was not. I needed to pay attention a little bit more to the top end of things. But I mean, Liquids just look so solid. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. There's a lot of potential here. I like that DarkZero is trying to work their way around things, especially on this downstairs level. I'm going to assume that this has been castle barricaded down here. Let's see. It has been. There was no reinforcements on that. Buck just got to walk immediately into dirt off the skeleton key. So
imagine what would they played Blitz and they rushed third turn with like 4 players and just like took the bomb site. That's like, DC are so back. Instead, I said the world's slowest roam clear. Right now, DC aren't even roam clearing. Canadian is in strip hallway. Bolo is thrown in kitchen. NGR is just leaving spawn. And Nave is on the roof. I am worried right now because this pacing is not fast enough to actually have a legitimate chance in this round unless Liquid just fall apart in gunfights and making bad decisions. But looking at the spread of players from Liquid side, they have so much information. They know the only danger zone right now is kitchen and bar. They know they have the rest of the map at their disposal because there's no attackers there. And you see the Valkyrie cameras. Liquid are watching those as well.
Here we go. Nice little angle here from main stairs. That honestly, in my opinion, does not get used enough. We saw another creative one, I think it was actually from Liquid, with a nice repel to handle a player rotating down main earlier in the tournament, but could have been another team. Either way.
PSG talent, actually.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I think it might have been you guys. Huh, I wonder who gave him that one.
Good old Fabian.
Yeah, the guy that knows way too much for his own good about this game.
I think it's first sounded. That happens.
Yeah, you know, hey, if Fabian didn't want that to happen, he probably would have just done it himself.
Look at the time though, 55 seconds. The Monty is a very big win condition right now, but the flank is open, upstairs open as well. Team Liquid, with the right timing, can actually attack from both sides, and they get them peek again.
Oh wow, what a find from Maya Pambazoo.
Oh!
even try and assist. That could have been it right there. They could have taken down Maya, and this round would have looked completely differently. But fortunately enough, they gave NJR an actual gun. He's got the 5.52 this time around instead of being on the therm, but somebody had to do it, and he still made it look good at the end of the day. Have to try and find some space to get this plant down, though. And NJR is going to want that one back. What a shot, though. He'll make up for it. Lagonas takes out Canadian. NJR, minimal time, a lot to do. 2 players and an angle that he was going to have to worry about. It's right behind him. My entire back is literally sweating for him. But Nesk is still going to get it done. And this time, Liquid still turns solid. DarkZero collapse in the desert.
When the pressure gets to them, DC, they slow down and default back to their old ways, and those old ways is not why they've been praised so much this tournament so far, because when they are fast, they are playing their best. The maps as well, Consulate, Cafe, and Clubhouse, not the best for new Canadian playstyle of Blitz, Monty, and Clash, but they tried their best. Liquid only played 2 maps to this point, both Consulate. They've shown almost no strats this event so far, which sets them up great for the semifinals, and if they win tomorrow, the grand finals after that.
Yeah, so incredible. Liquid has looked so unbelievably good so far this tournament, and this is one of the better versions of Liquid that we have seen. I really